to Husky Stadium on the campus of Northern Illinois University as we get set for our 2A state championship game. But we just saw an outstanding 1A matchup between Lena Winslow and Tuscola. The Panthers getting another state championship to carry on tradition of a successful program against Tuscola. But hard-fought game between both groups, and unfortunately, that's sports. One team has to win, one team has to lose as we look at the rest of the schedule and outstanding matchups throughout the day that we will see. But this matchup is probably going to be one of the more intriguing ones that we have in Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley against Maroa-Forsyth, Tim.
It is. It's a terrific defense from Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley against a unbelievable offense. Great matchup.
All right, let's throw it upstairs to the booth to Lee Hall and Jack McInerney, who will provide the voices for today's game.
All right, Cameron, thank you very much. And we've got a little bit of a similar situation in game 2 as we had in game 1. GCMS comes into this ball game as predominantly a ground-based offense, whereas Maroa-Forsyth, they play a little bit of both and spread it out on you.
Well, exactly. Both teams is going to be very similar to what we saw in the first ball game. If this ball game is played as well as the first ball game, we're in for a heck of an afternoon. But you're exactly right. They both got here in a different way as far as their offenses. They score a lot of points. They both play very good defense. But again, one really runs the ball a lot, whereas Maroa just really has great balance.
All right, let's take a look at our key player of the game. First, for Maroa-Forsyth, well, it's actually a couple of guys. Ian Benner, their quarterback, the sophomore, along with DeAndre Gregory, the running back.
Well, they have great statistics, but everything starts with a quarterback, and that happens with Benner. And actually, he's a very young sophomore quarterback. Great stats, and they really all started after the third ball game of the year. Coach kind of reduced some of the responsibilities that he had, simplified the offense a little bit, and he exploded. And of course, when you have a great quarterback, it's always good to have a great running back, and they have that in Gregory.
On the other side for GCMS, their running back, Mitch McNutt, over 1,500 yards this season.
Well, he does an outstanding job controlling the ball, controlling the football, does a great job on both sides of the football. He's an outstanding young high school running back, and you'll see that today. He runs very strong, but yet he has good speed in the open field.
All right, Maroa-Forsyth has been here so often we joke that this is the Josh Jostis Invitational. On the other side, GMS making their first ever state championship appearance.
The 2017 IHSA Football State Finals are brought to you by Country Financial. Take simple steps today at countryfinancial.com/simple steps. And by Biaggi's, where carry-out and curbside pickup make it easy to enjoy the great taste of Biaggi's at home. Visit Biaggi's online at biaggi's.com.
Welcome back to DeKalb, Illinois on a beautiful Friday morning for some 2A football state championship matchup. And actually, it's the afternoon, but the sun is shining bright. I feel good. You feel good. We saw a great matchup in our 1A game between Lena Winslow and Tuscola, and maybe we'll see some high-powered action in this one. So let's break this one down, Edgy, and talk about this Maroa-Forsyth team. They were here a year ago, came up short ultimately, but it really inspired their motto for the season, which is WWB 17, meaning we will be back in 2017.
Well, and again, when you're a program like Maroa-Forsyth, you expect to be here every year, and they have the talent. I mean, how many teams can bring in a sophomore quarterback and lead it to a state title game? So again, if you're Maroa, you want to control the pace, meaning you know you're playing against a great defense. You want to score the ball and really get that defense back on their heels. And again, a few big plays as well would help. Break a couple, bend that defense a little bit.
And speaking of that great defense for GCMS, only allowing 8 points per game in the state playoffs. Outstanding all year, and they have to be outstanding again today to get a win.
Well, the Falcons want to get the McNutt and Trantina train rolling. Get that running game rolling. And again, your defense is all that. You're going to have to earn it today. You better live up to it. Got to have that swagger, Cam.
Got to have it. All right, we will be back with more for this 2A state championship game between Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley and Maroa-Forsyth.
And welcome back to Husky Stadium in DeKalb, campus of Northern Illinois University. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney with you for the 2A state championship. Maroa-Forsyth 12-1, ranked 9th in the final poll. There you can see their trail to DeKalb, a win over Illini West. They beat El Dorado. They beat Hamilton in a really close game. And that game, they trailed until the last minute. And then you see GCMS winning over Eastland, West Carroll. They beat conference mates El Paso Gridley in the quarterfinals, and a 14-8 win over perennial power Central Catholic Newman. Central Catholic, that is, out of Sterling. GCMS won the opening toss. They chose to defer, so they will kick it away with the wind at their back. Maroa-Forsyth has Justin Livengood back at his own 5-yard line deep. GCMS kicker is Ben Freehill. It's a little breezy out there, so they have to re-tee.
The wind has picked up just a little bit more than it did in that first game, and it had some effect on some of the special team and throwing the football, and it looks like it's picked up about 5 miles an hour more than we had in the first ball game.
Winds gusting to 28 miles an hour out of the south. That is a line shot, one hopper into the end zone, and a touchback. Maroa will start at their own 20-yard line. There you get a look at Ian Benner, sophomore quarterback. He had a rough start to this season, as Jack alluded to in the open, but he has really turned out to be an outstanding quarterback in just his sophomore season. Almost 3,000 yards combined rushing and passing here coming into the state championship game.
Well, he gives them 229 yards of total offense and about 2.5 touchdowns per game out of his quarterback position. So that's an awful lot of production from that quarterback.
He is in the shotgun. DeAndre Gregory to his immediate left. Handoff is to Gregory. And he picks up about 3 yards. 1,600 yards plus for DeAndre Gregory as we take a look at the starters for the Trojans. Benner at quarterback, Gregory running back. And there are the wide receivers: Aaron Inda, Max Davenport, Charlie Hubbard, Cameron Boleen. And the linemen: Jatoy, Hallam, Klein, Godey, and Olemeyer up front for the Trojans. Trips receivers to the left side on second down. Benner keeps it himself, gets outside. He's got a lot of room to run. He's at midfield before he's forced out of bounds as he runs into GCMS territory.
And that was a good job right here. You can see it's just a counter trap. He's going the other way after the fake to Gregory. Gregory always attracts a lot of attention, and there's a good job by Ian Benner getting back, following the guard and tackle, getting the outside, showing that speed that he possesses.
28 yards on the pickup, 901 yards coming into this ball game with 9 touchdowns. And the sophomore moves it into GCMS territory where it's first down. Fakes the handoff to Gregory. He's met at the line of scrimmage by a couple of GCMS defenders there. Defensive starters for the unbeaten and second-ranked Falcons: Bryce Barnes, Joe Allen, Josh Blake up front. Linebackers: Trantina, Spiller, Freehill, and McNutt. Gerard and Livingston are the corners. Schmidt and Short the safeties. Second down give to Gregory, but there's a flag before the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 10, 5-yard penalty, replay, remains first down.
There you get a look at our officials: Brian Mason, James McGinnis, Robert McGinnis, Ronald King from the Peoria area, and Kevin Copeland. I believe this whole crew is from the Peoria area.
You always get good officials at state championship games. At all 8 games have an outstanding crews all the time.
Second and 15. Benner's throw is a little too tall for Cam Boleen, the intended receiver.
It's kind of a situation you don't want to be starting in after a good run by your quarterback, and then all of a sudden you're put in a negative situation by having a play that creates a penalty without running a play. It's one thing to have an active play with a penalty, shows effort, but it's another thing that shows to have a penalty without running a play shows a mental lapse.
3rd and 15. Sends Gregory in motion, throws back to his left side. A lot of traffic out there And still on his feet is Aaron Inda to the 20. He's going to take it all the way. 45 yards. Check that, 55 yards on the pitch and catch from Benner to Aaron Inda.
What a great job there by the quarterback, and it was all set up by his fake throw to Gregory going to his right. Look right here, he looked away. That slid the safety over, threw a bubble screen out here. Then after that, it just becomes a situation of either, as we say, broken tackles or poor tackling. And he's down the sideline for 6. That's an early way to get on the board. What a great effort right there by Inda.
Now the point after by Riley Fitzpatrick. She kicks it off the goalpost and no good. Riley Fitzpatrick, young lady kicker, 50 of 61 on extra points coming into this ball game. Check out the yards after catch for Aaron Inda.
Just an outstanding job right there of effort getting back inside. A good job by his fellow wide receivers of blocking initially. And right there, they just time up initially. Kind of a couple of poor tackles right there. But Inda, who's got very good speed and plays cornerback and linebacker sometimes on defense, does a good job getting down the field. Now, initially, when he caught that, it looked like it was going to be about an 8 or 10 yard gain at the most. And then it turns up and erupts into a touchdown.
You see that brace on his leg. He wasn't going to play football this season. He had a concussion last year, and then 2 weeks after that he cleared the protocol, came back and tore his ACL and missed last year's 2A title game. He told coach, hey, my future's in track. I don't want to risk it. Had a change of heart, and here he is scoring the first touchdown of the ball game for Maroa-Forsyth. 5 plays, 80 yards, just took 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And a coach doesn't mind if your heart's in track, as long as you're on the field and doing football. I used to say that to players all the time. Your first love is basketball, great, but I want you out here as a wide receiver.
Tanner Falk, the kickoff into the wind, fielded at the 18-yard line. And out to about the 34. That's Jared Trantina on the return.
I always find it interesting in games like this, especially state championship games, how quickly the opposing team responds after an early touchdown in a big game like this. And we're talking about in the first series, they get a touchdown scored against them. Let's see how they respond.
Nathan Gerard under center for GCMS. Here's the pitch to their leading rusher, Mitch McNutt. Cuts it back inside and picks up about 5, maybe 6 yards on first down. McNutt, 1,550 yards, 29 touchdowns on the season. As we take a look at the Falcons starters, Gerard and Trantina, Mitch McNutt, Brooks Schmidt, and Ryland Holt at the wide receivers, Bryce Barnes at tight end, Ben Rutherford, Jared Thompson, Alex Rosenbaum, Connor Walls, Hayden Workman, the lineman. Now on second down. The give is to Trantina. He gets it outside and picks up the first down.
Good job there of getting those linebackers to move in one direction. Here's a good look at the defensive starters from Maroa.
Andrew Tolan, Brian Hallam, Tucker Klein, Lane Olmeyer up front, Wilbur Falk, Hawbaker, Shepard into the linebackers, Hayden Mitchell, Justin Livengood at DB. Ball at the 46. Gerard to throw, rolling left, looking, has it almost picked off. There in coverage was Justin Livengood from Maroa-Forsyth.
Very, very poor decision right there by Gerard. Very difficult for a right-handed quarterback to turn his shoulders up the field, which he did not do, and force the ball going into the sideline with 2 defenders over and under. Just not a good decision right there. He's very fortunate that ball was knocked down.
Gerard completing, not throwing much, just 75 pass attempts, but completing 67% of his throws on the season. And it looked to me like Jared Trantina might flinch just a little bit.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 22, 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
And it was barely perceptible, but he moved just a little bit.
Well, those officials have eagle eyes, as we say in the coaching ranks, and they very seldom miss very many situations or plays.
Second down now. Trantina gets the pitch. Gets across midfield where he's finally wrestled down there.
Good effort right there. Really an outstanding effort of running with the football, but a better job of the lineman. Watch everybody pulling out in front of him, and everybody picks up somebody. Right there's a kick out right here. He turns up underneath it. Everybody had locked onto somebody, and then after he gets past the line of scrimmage, it just turns into second effort on his part. Just a power sweep with linemen and wide receivers blocking, and then initially when he gets to the linebacker level, it just becomes his effort.
Pick up a 14, third down and short.
Got it.
And the mark would appear to be a first down for GCMS. It is.
And they needed to do that after that initial touchdown, was to get a sustained drive here where they develop a little confidence early, because you don't want to get flat mentally in a big ball game like this. And sometimes that can happen when you're dealing with high school kids.
McNutt, the All-Stater, 4-year starter, picking up the first down for GCMS. They scored on the first possession of every game until week 11. Gerard rolling out. His pass is complete. Ryland Holt open on the far sideline down to the 28-yard line. That's a pickup of 15 from Gerard to Ryland Holt. 413 yards receiving this season for GCMS.
And a nice target. Holt is 6'4", 190-pound junior, and nice target to go to on the bootleg pass. He was in the intermediate area with the back in the flat. A good delivery by Gerard, getting him the football, picking up the first drive, keeping the drive alive.
1st and 10 now for the Falcons. Here's the give to Hubbard. And the receiver with a carry on the ground down to the 23-yard line. Pick up a 5.
Well, that was just a jet sweep, and he just basically outran his blockers.
Check that. That's Brooks Schmidt. Got my 6s mixed up.
He just actually overran his blockers and didn't give him an opportunity to get out in front to set up the blocks.
2nd and 5 now. Here's McNutt stepping through a tackler's arms, down inside the 10, still on his feet inside the 5, all the way down to the 3-yard line. A pickup of 20 for the All-Stater, Mitch McNutt.
Mitch McNutt, 220 pounds, and that's where that power comes in at the end. Look at the quick feet with the cuts. That's what impresses me right there. Lowers the shoulder, but right now comes the power at 220 to pick up those extra 8 or 9 yards after the initial hit. That's what you look at when he's contacting what he does. What a great effort right there.
9th play of the drive here. They're inside the 3-yard line. Gerard under center. The pitch to McNutt. Looking for the edge. He's in for the score. Mitch McNutt, his 30th touchdown of the season. And GCMS with an extra point can take the lead here.
Now, in many cases, again, a lot of the statistics of these players are not complete games, because at halftime they're usually up by so many. But there's a great job of a kick-out block. He just runs up in the seam off the power sweep, and Mitch McNutt, who is the son of a coach, he's also a basketball player, so it shows you his athleticism at 220 pounds. I don't know. I don't think he's a point guard, but who knows?
Ben Freehill on for the extra point. It is good, and it's a GCMS 7-6 lead. One extra point made the difference in our 1A state championship. Pretty explosive opening start for both teams. It's GCMS with the 1-point lead. Maroa-Forsyth scores on their first drive. GCMS answers. Mitch McNutt with the 3-yard touchdown run. The extra point good, and that's the difference. A 9-play drive covering 66 yards. 7 of those 9 plays were on the ground. Just what you would expect from GCMS.
Absolutely, but one of them was a nice catch for a big first down by their wide receiver also that kept that drive alive. Royland Holt, excuse me, who made a nice catch on a bootleg pass. Got to have a little bit of versatility along with running the football. A little play action will always result in a big play in many cases.
Ben Freehill put his first one in the end zone. That might go through the uprights. Wow. Did you bring your clubs? I'd like to tee one up from the end zone with the wind at my back. There you go. Look at Maroa-Forsyth, just north of Decatur in Macon County. Enrollment of 381, and an awesome program for Josh Jostis. He's right outside Decatur, as we mentioned. Second in state. Here a year ago, losing to DMAC out of the Heart of Illinois Conference. Today, they take on GCMS out of the Heart of Illinois Conference.
Shuttle pass! Shovel pass!
The sophomore Benner keeps it himself, picks up a couple of yards on first down. Joseph says Ian's gotten better every week. It's been like light years from early in this season to here in the postseason, now on the biggest stage in the state championship game.
No push! Nope!
Here's to give to Gregory. Got a nice lane to run and takes a big hit. Lane short, 6'2" junior comes up and gives him a pretty good pop after a gain of about 3. Now check it out. They'll give him forward progress all the way to the 29-yard line.
You can see how quick he is right there with that little step. Not a real big back at 165 pounds, but he's big in numbers. He runs the ball about 12 times a game for about 125 yards a game over their 13-game season.
3rd and 1 to give to Gregory. He's hit.
Ooh.
And then stays on his feet to get the first down and drive all the way out to the 35-yard line. Pretty good balance for DeAndre Gregory.
Really good effort right there to pick up that first down, because his initial hit, he wouldn't have got the first down, but it's always one of those situations where a balancing act after contact. Watch the balance right there. Puts his hand down, puts his hand down again, and that's just great balance and good forward lateral speed for Gregory. Not a big kid, but a tough kid.
Austin Spiller put a pretty good lick on him. He gets the carry again, does Gregory, and he's out to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 9. 3-year starter, over 1,600 yards this season. He's a 5'8", 165-pound senior. Pretty tough to bring down.
Pretty tough to bring down. He's running behind an offensive line that averages 225 pounds. Not real big, but very effective, and they move their feet really well. They trap and do a nice job on pass blocking after play action also.
Aaron in motion on first down. Benner keeps it himself.
Now that play right there put a lot of pressure on the linebackers. It was only one play, but they come back to that again with the option concept. If somebody breaks down and does not take the pitch man, who is Gregory right here, you're in trouble. Big trouble, because that play can develop into a real big play. And you got 2 runners right there, your top 2 runners, Benner and Gregory, handling the football. 2nd and 3.
Benner almost loses his balance. Manages to fall forward to the 46. He'll be a long yard short of a first down. It'll be 3rd down for the Trojans. They average 40 points a game, about a 60% to 40% breakdown pass to rush. 3rd down here. They trail by 1. They give us to Gregory. He's got the first down and more down to the 40-yard line. Pickup of 7 for Gregory, who's off to a great start behind that great offensive line. And this offensive line, Jack, bigger than the past. Last year, they averaged 5'11", 196 pounds. And Josh Jostis talked about how we weren't bigger than anybody last year. And this year, they averaged 6'2", 224. So they're about 25, 30 pounds heavier and about 3 inches taller. Here's a little shovel pass. They give to William Hosea, sophomore. And that gets down to the 35-yard line. Pick up a 5. A little razzle-dazzle there. They like to run that a couple times a game.
They have not yet run the same play. In the entire drive, every play has been a different play.
Yeah, the formations they run are crazy, aren't they?
It really keeps the defense on their heels.
And now a flag. Well, and they do such a great job of moving quickly down the field. And Coach Josta says even when you see our play, you've got to see it, call something that's designed to stop it, and more than likely we're snapping the ball already. And they get a penalty encroachment on GCMS here and move the ball a little bit closer into that win with 3:30 to go here in the first quarter. There you get a look at Josh Jostis. He's in his 18th season, 165 wins, 52 losses.
You can see how he spreads out the defense here. Puts a lot of pressure on the linebackers. Again.
Another flag. And judging by the GCMS reaction, I think it's going to be against them again.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty, remains, first down.
The Falcons need to get that figured out defensively.
And that's an adjustment you don't make on the race board. That's a mental adjustment right there.
Third penalty already on GCMS. Mike Allen's going to take time out and kind of circle the wagons here and get things figured out defensively. It's a 1-point lead for GCMS over Maroa-Forsyth. Well, a couple of encroachment penalties on GCMS. They had to call timeout to get things rearranged defensively. Maroa, they throw so many looks at you, it's tough to keep up. I would imagine anyway.
Not only a physical adjustment, but it's a mental adjustment for the defense.
Here's the give to Gregory right up the middle.
Now Gregory is an outstanding running back, but just take a look at the trap right there. It kicks out, and then linebacker slides down to make the play, or he's in the end zone with a touchdown.
He picks up 5 there. Gregory off to a great start. This offensive line from Maroa-Forsyth blowing open some pretty good holes here in the first quarter. That shovel pass again. This time it goes to Charlie Hubbard.
That's really a good play offensively, because on the options you'll see at the top of the screen, a lot of people overplay the option, and so somebody coming in behind the option has an open play, and that's what they do. They're running the option in one direction, they try to overplay it, and they shovel it back behind it.
2nd down and 2. And it looks like Cam Boleen had the wrong snap count.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 10, 5-yard penalty, remains, 2nd down.
Here's a decision point right here. You can see they're overplaying the ball. You see number 6 coming underneath where the gap is. Top of your screen, there's somebody taking the quarterback, and then the other guy on the top is trying to take the pitch man, but underneath they're pinning off. As you can see, the linemen wall off the backside pursuit, and that's a very effective play, and they've run that now. That's the 3rd time that they have run it. That can develop into a very big play. Now what that play will do, it'll slow down the pursuit, and then once they do pitch it, it's going to be a big play. So there's a lot of pros and cons of that kind of a play, especially when you run it effectively.
The 11th play of the drive for Josh Jostis' Trojans. They look to get back on top here, trailing 7-6. Here's the give to Inda, and not much there. He picks up maybe a yard.
Good job of reacting right there. The jet sweep is really designed to outrun the defense. But what happens is if the corners and the defensive backs don't move off the line of scrimmage, they're just standing at the line of scrimmage, and it just turns into a sweep right there. The receivers have to run them off the ball to create a lane for that jet sweep to be run into.
Maroa-Forsyth 3 of 3 on 3rd down. The give is to Gregory, tries to bounce it outside, but he's dragged down for no gain by Austin Spiller. Spiller put a pretty good hit on him earlier in the first quarter here and comes up with the stop there.
Good job by Spiller. That shows you the speed that he has. He actually came in from behind and ran him down. He fired one of the gaps. They're reading the offensive line depending on what they do, and they make their reaction to what the linemen do.
Maroa going for it on 4th and 7. Lofts the pass into the end zone.
Yep.
I don't see a signal.
Yep.
Touchdown. Max Davenport with the grab for Maroa-Forsyth. A little delay on the touchdown call, but it is a touchdown. Ian Benner to Davenport on the score.
Now you can see how he was able to turn his shoulders back for right-handed quarterback. Very difficult going to your left. You can see the exaggeration of him turning his shoulders when he screens to the left. Watch that exaggeration of the shoulders. Puts the ball right on the money. Nice juggling catch, but he comes up with the possession.
He controlled it all the way through the catch, as they say in the NFL, all the way through the ground. And they're going to go for 2 here after the extra point miss. It's 12-7 currently.
And a timeout. They're not sure exactly how that defense reacted, so Maroa calls a timeout.
Ian Benner, his 24th touchdown throw of the year. And that's just the 4th touchdown catch for Max Davenport. Take another look.
Good job here, the scramble, keeping the play alive. This is what an athlete does for you, quarterback. You can see right here how he comes in behind the defenders right there. Oftentimes what happens is defensive backs get caught up in watching the quarterback scramble, and they lose sight of where the receiver is, especially on a roll. They don't see the receiver coming in behind them, and that's exactly what happened on that particular play. But certainly give credit to Ian Benner on a great athletic move by getting those shoulders turned up the field and making the throw.
And a big catch for Max Davenport. He recently lost his grandfather, Jerry, who was always at every game. Max wears a chain around his neck, as you see Ian Benner, who threw that touchdown pass. Max's chain around his neck, he's got a 5 medallion, his number. And then on the back, he's got his grandfather's initials engraved on there. And grandmother Sandy is here to support and cheer on her grandson. Here's the pitch to Gregory, and he's going to be just short.
Excellent defensive effort right there by Gibson City. Also gives you a great idea of how well coached these players are. It's very difficult to stop the option. Good job of turning his shoulders up the field. Defender gets in behind the wide receiver, gets in behind the defenders because they're looking at the quarterback. Good scramble right here. Good athlete keeping the play alive with his feet. Gets the ball up in the air. You can see how he comes in behind the defenders. They're caught up in watching the quarterback. A nice concentration catch right there. Here's your option right here. Great discipline by the defense. Everybody has an assignment. The option becomes a big play when somebody doesn't have the discipline and it breaks down. There's somebody assigned to the quarterback. There's somebody assigned to the pitchman. If you're not there, it's a big play. In this case, they were both there, negated the extra point.
And there you get a look at Max Davenport, as we mentioned, thinking of his grandfather here today. And grandmother Sandy still coming to the games and supporting Max with his 4th touchdown catch of the season, a 16-yarder to make it 12-7. Maroa-Forsyth. Under a minute to go now in the first quarter. It's been a busy first quarter offensively. Very short kick into that wind. And this is McNutt with it, and he's out at the 35-yard line where GCMS will take over. Gibson City, Melvin Sibley. Hello to our friends in Melvin.
You got friends everywhere.
Well, every once in a while. Out in Ford County and not too far from Champaign, the Heart of Illinois Conference. Jeremy Darnell, the superintendent. Chris Gerard, the principal. Yeah, he is the quarterback's dad. Mike Allen, the athletic director, as well as the head coach. And here's Trantina with it, and just caught by Aaron Inda. That might have saved a touchdown as he gets all the way to the 37-yard line. Pickup of 28.
Very quick hitting play right there by the fullback. And he gets right in behind him, does a nice job right there. Good job of blocking downfield.
I think he got bit by that turf monster we talked about in the 1A final. Clock ticking, final minute here of the first quarter. McNutt dragged down from behind. Tanner Falk, the team leader in tackles, comes up with a big one there. Tanner Falk, 6 foot, 180 pound senior.
Nice job defensively. Came right in behind the pulling lineman, which you're coached to do. If he pulls, you get right in this hip pocket, he'll take you to the football, and that's exactly what happened.
Be very close if they can get this off before the quarter ends. They do not. So we played 12 minutes here in DeKalb in the 2A state championship game, and it's Maroa-Forsyth out to the 12-7 lead.
Thank you.
Lee Hall, Jack McInerney back with you. Cameron Smith, Edgy Tim here for 2A state championship football. Maroa-Forsyth up 12-7 as we head to the second quarter. The Illinois Treasury. Do you have unclaimed property? Check today at illinoistreasurer.gov. The Illinois Treasurer's Office safeguards unclaimed property such as life insurance proceeds, missing paychecks, forgotten bank deposits. There's $2 billion in unclaimed property. Check if your name is among the thousands who have unclaimed property at illinoistreasurer.gov. That's www.illinoistreasurer.gov.
Something I'm going to have to look into when I get home.
I think you should. GCMS on second down. McNutt in motion. This is Gerard keeping it himself. He picks up about 5 yards. Make it 6. He's down to the 34-yard line.
Part of the thing is that they're going to have to get him involved, either throwing or running the football, because right now they can key on just the running backs being McNutt and Trantina. They're going to have to be able to throw at least a little play action.
3rd and long 6. The pitch to McNutt. He's got a first down and more out at the 24-yard line. Pickup of about 9 for Mitch McNutt. He was a unanimous all-conference choice last year in his junior season, and he is over 1,600 yards in his senior year.
And he was a coach's choice as far as an all-stater this year. He's also a captain. Kind of tells you the versatility. He's also an outside linebacker and a coach's son, so you can put a lot of faith in his abilities, which are very good.
Trantina with the give up the middle.
Trantina is very effective as an offset to McNutt's abilities, and very competent backfield. And coach likes to be very versatile with using both as a distraction to the other.
On second down, the pitch to McNutt again to the right. He's inside the 20 and reaches for that first down marker. I think he's a little bit short. It'll be about 3rd and 3.
You'll notice in many cases how tight the fullback is to the quarterback. And there's an advantage to that because that forces the linebackers to stay in relatively close, because what happens is it's a very quick hitting play if you hand off to the fullback. I mean, he's to the line of scrimmage before there's any chance for adjustment. And they always seem to want to run the fullback very tight up inside. You can see how close he is to the quarterback there.
3rd and 3, McNutt. It's going to be very close. We'll see. Looks like forward progress. He's got the first down. I think they're going to maybe take time out and measure. Nope. They go ahead and give him the first down. McNutt, 111 yards last week against Newman on 32 carries. He was a real workhorse. Has been all season.
Well, he's a big back at 220 pounds, has a lot of stamina. He's also a tough defensive player.
He goes in motion. Trantina the carry down to the 10-yard line. Pickup of 3.
And again, that's what I was talking about. You see how fast that fullback hit up in there. That was just a real quick trap after the motion. That motion went to slide the linebacker over to think he's going to have to help out, and they ran up the fullback right up tight up inside with the guard pulling on the trap. Very effective play to keep those linebackers loosened up.
Early second quarter, GCMS trying to go back up on top. They led 7-6. Here's a little reverse to McNutt. Tries to get it outside. Does. Picks up about 2 or 3 yards. Down to the 6-yard line. Give him 4 yards on that.
Should have been a negative play. A double reverse right here. He gets out to the outside. You can see how he stagger steps to get the outside linebacker to slow down. That should have been about a loss of 2 or 3 yards, but he makes a play. Double handoff. They really a great job right there by the defensive back of coming up and not allowing him to get outside. He was not suckered in with the initial fake. So whenever you look at a defensive back that can come up and make a play like that, and that was Justin Livingood, that was a great play off that double fake.
3rd and 3 for the Falcons in 4-down territory. Here's the pitch to McNutt. Steps up inside and into the end zone for the touchdown. McNutt with his 2nd touchdown run of the game.
And he does a nice job of not overrunning his blockers. He sets the blockers up with his staggered moves a little bit, and then he makes it difficult. Watch how he staggers his feet for the blocker here, right up in there. And just does a nice job of setting up the defender for the move he's going to put on him. Takes him right into the end zone. That's his, what, 31st, 32nd touchdown?
Number 31, his 2nd of the game. A 6-yard run for McNutt. And GCMS goes back up on top. You can see he's already got 53 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. After a win earlier this season, he told Coach, I'm the most confident I've ever been. They're going for 2 here. And the throw is complete. The 2-point after is good. Ryland Holt with the catch from Nathan Gerard. And it's a 15-12 lead for the Falcons. And welcome back. A sunny, gorgeous day. Temperatures in the 60s, a little windy. Each team has had the ball twice. Each team has scored twice. It's GCMS with the 15-12 lead. A couple of missed extra points for Maroa-Forsyth. The difference in this ball game. A 2-point conversion for GCMS and a couple of missed extra point attempts. One a kick and one a 2-point attempt for Maroa-Forsyth.
I've been impressed with both of the offenses of both teams, running very effectively. Both the backs, McNutt for Gibson City and Gregory for Maroa.
Freehill, one Hobsett, trying a little razzle dazzle there with an onside kick, and there to pick it up, Caden Morris. As we catch up with the scoring in this one, Aaron Inda, a 55-yard touchdown catch from Benner.
The point after was no good. Then it was Mitch McNutt, the All-Stater, running it in from 3 yards out. Then Benner to Davenport. Max Davenport with a touchdown catch, falling in the end zone and rolling out of bounds, but he hung on to it. Then it's McNutt again from 6 yards out. Gerard to Holt for a 2-point conversion, and that's our scoring. As we come back to live action, DeAndre Gregory with the carry. He's a 3-year starter and an All-Stater. Coach Josta says his balance and vision are off the charts. He picks up 7 yards on first down. And nothing doing that time. It's McNutt making a play defensively. Mitch McNutt, number 2 on the team in sacks. He comes up with a tackle there.
He just fires a gap right there. That right in between. They'll blitz occasionally. They like to run a 3-man front or 52 defense, but they blitz a lot and they read their keys and they do a nice job. If somebody pulls or sets back, they're filling that gap quickly, and that's what he did right there.
3rd tackle for a loss for the GCMS defense, and that pass from Benner incomplete.
And that was intended for the tight end. He was releasing right up inside, and the ball was thrown in behind him. Good stop right here for Gibson City.
This will be the first punt of the ball game.
Again, the wind has been a little bit of a factor in the special team play.
Ian Benner, the quarterback, is the punter.
Nope.
Now,
ill-advised.
bad decision there.
Ill-advised. Now,
I don't think that was scripted that way. I think it was a bit of a bad snap, and he tried to do something with it. He had time to bring it down and actually kick it, I think.
Well, sometimes it's hard to tell in the many cases. It's not a bad snap. You can see the back going out in the backfield right there, slid across the line of scrimmage. That was a design play. What happened was he waited too long. He let it develop for the defense rather than reacting and making it happen before the defense could react to it.
So good field position for GCMS as they lead it by 3. McNutt with the carry on first down. And he picks up 11 and another first down for the Falcons. They average 42 points per game, 279 yards rushing per game.
You just cannot give a good football team this kind of field position, especially when it's a team that runs the football. It's one thing with a passing team because you always have an opportunity for incompletion or an interception. With a running team, you know, you only have to be too sophisticated to gain 3 and 4 yards at a crack.
Trantina on first down. Nick Pinto, our stats guy, tells us that's the 9th first down already for GCMS.
Well, they've been very effective all year long running the football. Very productive. 2 good balanced running backs in McNutt and Trantina, and that's what you can do. Otherwise, if you just have one, the teams key on that, but here they have good balance.
Second down, about 7 for the Falcons. Here's the pitch to McNutt. He waits for his blocks, gets down inside the 30, still on his feet, and falls out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. And it looks like a late flag on the play. Maybe a late hit.
Looked like actually what they call is a spear on that last, right at the end of it. Right here, nice job right here, setting up the block for Trantina. And then just some poor tackling and some good power on his part. 220 pounds supplies a lot of power. And that's a big flag to come in at the end if it does. Now, what I like to see is the officials are conversing, talking it over to make the decision because they know this is a big decision right now, a big play.
After the play, personal foul. Defense number 6. Half the distance to the goal results in a first down.
Right at the very end of the play. Good job right here, right? You see the power, 220 pounds. And right there, coming in with the shoulder when he's kind of out of bounds, I think it's really a good call by the official. And of course, IHSA and all football people now are looking more at the safety of the participants. And that's how you do it. You're setting the tone right there by telling them we're not going to let that happen throughout the game. Good call by the official.
1st and 10. GCMS 2 for 2 in the red zone. Trantina tries to get an edge, and look at the tackle there by Spencer Hawbaker. He had him by the jersey. This isn't the tearaway jersey days of the 80s. He was able to grab onto a little shirt and hang on for dear life.
The reason they don't have those shirts anymore, budgets have not increased over the years, and that was a very expensive item in the budgets. Of course, only the skilled kids had them.
Right.
Which the linemen always complained about.
Second down at 15. McNutt to the left. Not a lot there for Mitch McNutt.
What a good job by Trantina leading the play as the fullback, and then of course McNutt allowing to set up the block and having enough patience to wait for Trantina to make the contact on the defender and then deciding which way he wants to cut. And he sets it up by making it look like he wants to go out real wide. So the defender comes up wider, and that allows Trantina to kick him out. And that's when McNutt turns up inside of him. Good running tandem right here of McNutt and Trantina. I like it a lot.
3rd and 10. They have to get to the 3-yard line for a first down.
2-down territory here.
Gerard to throw, or maybe he'll keep it. He does. And he's very close to a first down. They mark him inside the 5-yard line.
He got popped pretty good there. Good job here of making a smart move. Doesn't force. You can see the coverage. It's almost double coverage with the linebacker getting underneath. Does a nice job of putting the football away and getting downfield. And it looks like we have a penalty here that we didn't notice at first.
Yeah, the GCMS players are walking back.
50. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. 3rd down.
Hold on Jared Thompson. That's the 4th penalty against the Falcons.
And this is a situation that Gibson City does not like to be in, because average over the 13 games that they've played, they throw the ball 6 times a game. They complete 4 of them for about 74 yards, which is a pretty good average. He's got 15 touchdown passes coming into this game.
Gerard out of the shotgun here.
Oh!
And he was trying to find Ryland Holt. The GCMS fans want a flag. They don't get one there. It'll bring up 4th down.
Ball was thrown behind him a little bit, but that's Holt who made that nice catch before. A nice 6'4" target. Big basketball player. Good job of rolling in one direction, hoping the secondary will slide in that direction. And then the throwback, the big receiver, Ryland Hope, looking for a mismatch physically against a smaller defender, but the ball was thrown behind him.
Back and forth ball game here. GCMS up 3 as we're under 5 minutes to go now in the first half. 4th and a bunch. Gerard looking in the end zone. Jump ball. The ball hit the ground, it appeared. And it is incomplete.
Well, if you're going to have a jump ball, you might as well go to a basketball player.
Right.
And there's Ryland Holt. It's just a single matchup right here. Gets no help from the safety, but a pretty good job of a visual distraction by the defensive back and getting his hand up in his face. And that was Aaron Inda right there. You can see how he gets the ball up, throws off his visual concentration, and results in a incompletion.
And you talk about him being a basketball player. They tell him, they say it's just like a rebound. Grab a rebound. That's what we want you to do for us on the football field. Here's the give to Gregory, still on his feet out to the 35-yard line where he stopped after a good pickup on first down.
Every time Gregory touches the ball for some reason, it almost looks like he's going to pop all the way. He just is super quick.
I was going to say he was very close to a first down. It is a first down for the Trojans. And 150 yards in the semifinal win over Shelbyville last week.
Spreading them out.
Gregory gets the carry again, but he is met right at the line of scrimmage. Luke Freehill, number 54, in on the tackle.
Well, the adjustment was not made dramatically by Gibson City because Maroa put a diamond formation at one end, which is 3 receivers at the wide side, and split it, but it didn't break up the interior box of 4 and 3, and they made the play.
2nd and 10 now. It's complete to Davenport, and he's out across the 40-yard line to the 42, pickup of 7 on the completion to Max Davenport, who had the touchdown catch back in the first quarter. 3:39 and counting here in the first half. They send Hubbard in motion. And a completion to Cameron Boleen. He's out across midfield. The first down and into GCMS territory.
And Boleen is their 2nd leading receiver with 33 catches coming into the ball game, and he's got a lot of quickness. He, along with Inda, are really 2 good bookend receivers on either side of the football, and make it very difficult to match up single coverage on them because they have such great speed.
He had 2 catches for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns against Shelbyville last week. Here's that little shovel pass. Nothing there. Read well. It was Hubbard with the carry. And the stop by Bryce Barnes, number 18, 6'2", 205 junior. He is number 3 on the team in tackles, and an all-stater, by the way. 2nd down. Here's Gregory down to the 42. Josh Joseph says he's a special tailback. If you're a little heavier, he'd have some big level schools looking at him. So far, Monmouth and St. Ambrose checking out DeAndre Gregory, the 3-year starter for this great Maroa-Forsyth program. 2nd in state a year ago. 3rd and a long 4. Gregory gets it down inside the 35-yard line to the 33, a pickup of 9 for DeAndre Gregory.
That was well designed by formation only, not so much by the run, but they had 3 receivers on one side, 2 on the other, and then they ran 1 in motion, and that forced the linebacker to slide over to that side because he had to cover him, and that opened it up the middle for Gregory on the trap. Nice job of calling formations to accommodate the play.
Quarterback keeps it himself that time. Benner picks up about 5 or 6 there.
And that's
7.
It is, and it's a tough choice. You know, who are you going to take? Are you going to take Gregory on the pitch, or are you going to take Benner? I would take, if I'm coaching, I'd say, well, I want to take Gregory away, so we'll make sure we take him away and let Benner run with the ball if we have to.
It was a 7-yard gain, 2nd and 3. Benner now a little shovel pass, and look at a great job by Hubbard. It went right off his fingers, and he hauled it back in, and he's inside the 15. Would that have been an incomplete pass?
It would have been an incomplete pass, but again, this is the play where they run in and behind. He came too fast. He overran the guard that was pulling out in front of him. They ran that play before off the option with the shovel behind with the delay. But it would have been an incomplete pass.
1st and 10. Flag on the play. It's complete to Boleen. He's down inside the 10. And we'll check out the flag.
I think it could have been a formation issue.
Under a minute to play here, first half. We'll check out the call from our crew.
Illegal motion on the offense. 5-yard penalty Replay, first down.
I think what happened is he turned up too soon. You know, it's not Canadian football. You got to make sure on the snap that your shoulders are going away from the line of scrimmage and that your shoulders aren't tilted towards the line of scrimmage. And kids aren't. Actually, in the first game we saw that happened quite a few times with Bull. They could have called that on him several times. Spreading them out.
First down and 15. We'll send Hubbard in motion again. Give to Gregory up the middle, down to the 10-yard line. Pickup of 9 for DeAndre Gregory. All right, there's a timeout on the field with 35 seconds to play in the half. Maroa-Forsyth knocking on the door. They trail by 3. All right, final minute of the first half. It's a 15-12 lead for GCMS. Maroa-Forsyth at the 10. It's 2nd down and 6 for the Trojans. Trips receivers left. Hubbard in motion. Gregory is the back with Benner. Nothing there. Good coverage by GCMS, and he was just trying to throw it away, and it was batted down by Trantino.
Really good defensive job right there. The motion did not create much movement in the secondary for Gibson City, which meant that they were able to still come with their linebackers rather than the motion dropping a linebacker out there for pass coverage. They didn't take the bait, and they kept the defensive front and the linebackers in position, and they're the ones that made the play and forced him to scramble a wee bit.
Great balance for Maroa's offense. They're usually about 60-40 pass to rush. They've got 114 yards passing, 117 yards rushing. Here's Benner. Draws the rush in. It's complete to Hubbard. He's down to the goal line, and he's going to be marked just short. Charlie Hubbard with the catch and carry down to the 6-inch line.
Nice job of running the screen after they've been going to the strong side for this most of this drive and then coming back, because you saw in the play previously they got a lot of pressure. So right there you saw the pressure he was getting. They throw the screen.
1st and goal.
Nice play.
13th play of the drive. Inside give. Doesn't get there. And there's a flag on the play.
This will be a big stop here for Gibson City. And a big disappointment for Maroa if they don't punch it in.
Okay. Timeout, Maroa-Forsyth.
7 seconds on the clock.
Timeout, Maroa-Forsyth. It's their 3rd and final charge timeout of the half.
Picked up the flag.
Good job right here. You see the defensive front. There's your black jerseys getting across. They're the ones there that control the line of scrimmage, and that's what resulted in that loss on that particular play. All you got to do is watch the line of scrimmage. Whichever surge is most dominant is where the success is going to come from. And in that case, the surge was from the defensive line, and the success went to defensive front.
Bryce Barnes, Hayden Workman, Josh Blake, Joe Allen up front for GCMS. Josh Blake, number 19, was an outside linebacker a year ago. Got so strong in the offseason they moved him up to defensive line.
He's only 205, but he plays like he's about 245. Big play for both teams.
7 seconds to play in the first half. Maroa-Forsyth. 2nd and goal. They are out of timeouts.
And by being in the spread now, they allow the quarterback to have some scramble ability here.
Benner, the give, the handoff, and the score for Aaron Inda, the wide receiver, with the carry for the touchdown. And it's Maroa-Forsyth back on top with 2 seconds to go in the half.
Good job right there. There was a delayed jet sweep for the most part. Usually the jet sweep will take longer, which leaves the defense to adjust. There, it was a short jet sweep, and he just outran the edge. right here, he's coming around the end. Not so much a jet sweep as just a handoff, but by the fake inside, drew in the linebackers and let him get to the edge. He's one of their faster players anyway, so that he just outran the defense.
And a flag before the extra point try. It's a 3-point ball game now.
Looking at Riley Fitzpatrick, I don't know that we've ever had a
Prior to the snap, encroachment, defense, half the distance to the goal, retry.
I don't know that we've ever had a young lady, a female kicker, play in the state championship game. This could be a first.
Yeah, I don't remember if she was on the team last year or not. If she was,
she might have been on the team, but I don't think she kicked. So I mean, actively kicking in the state championship game.
It's up and good.
Good for her.
Well, and as soon as she joined the team, Josh Jostes told his team nobody better ever touch her. So that's a challenge to the lineman to not let anybody get in there. She is now 51 of 63 on the year, as Inda gets in to cap off rather a 14-play 75-yard drive. It took 4:46.
Well, the two inside fakes to the two running backs is what froze everybody, and then him coming around the edge with that kind of speed got him to the edge to make the score. Here's a good shot of Riley Fitzpatrick.
Soccer player. She I want to say she runs track too, maybe. I know she plays in the band. I've seen a picture of her at halftime in her uniform, football uniform, playing with the band as well.
She's a very happy, excited young lady right there, and I don't blame her. That's just a great effort. I mean, she might be the first female ever to play in a state championship game as far as for football and to score a point. So some history for her and some history for us to be announcing it. They won't forget about her, but they certainly won't forget about us.
Congratulations to Riley Fitzpatrick on the extra point kick, and you might be right on that, partner. You might be right on that.
Once in a while.
Rare, I'm sure. A little bouncing kick as time runs out. And that's McNutt still on his feet, looking for a blocker, and it's gonna come to an end. Somebody lost their helmet, and a late flag comes in after the play. Somebody from GCMS lost their. It was McNutt who lost his helmet. You get a good look at Mitch McNutt. He's taking part in No Shave November too.
After the play, we have a personal foul on the kicking team, number 50, with a face mask.
Could be in the second half
kickoff. That penalty
kickoff
will be assessed on the second half kickoff. The half is over.
That could be important. Field position right off the bat.
And that's the final word. Let's take another look here.
See in the cutback when he's in the pile. Oh yeah, right there. Good camera work. Good camera work and good job by the officials noticing it and not saying, look at the clock's, you know, wound down, it's over. But in the second half in the field position could be a big difference on that.
So last second touchdown for Maroa-Forsyth, and they take a 19-15 lead to the locker room. Aaron Inda scored the first touchdown of this game on a 55-yard pass from Ian Benner. This time he carried it in from a yard out. Let's go downstairs to Cameron. He's with Josh Jostes.
All right, Coach, that has to be a huge touchdown going into half to regain the lead and control of this ball game. How impressed have you been with your offense through that first half, especially Aaron Inda?
You know, we played well in the first half. How about Gibson City? It's a whale of a high school football game, right? That's what it's all about.
Definitely, and obviously defensively trying to slow down Mitch McNutt. What can you guys do to limit his yards when he gets out in the backfield?
Stay on offense has been our best job limiting. So far, when he's on offense, we're having a hard time doing it. We got the ball and we got the win coming out. Got to extend this lead a little bit.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we will send it to break as the Trojans of Maroa-Forsyth hold a 19-15 lead over the Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley Falcons. Great first half of play in 2A football. I'm sure we're going to have even better action in the second half. Welcome back to the halftime segment for this Maroa-Forsyth GCMS game in Class 2A for this state championship, as the Trojans hold a 19-15 lead over the Falcons. And it's been a first half of just dominance when it comes to running the football, especially for Maroa-Forsyth and DeAndre Gregory, who has been dynamic all season, and the first half obviously putting up some nice numbers.
Too bad we haven't had any games yet to watch today. What an unbelievable ball game. Two running backs, again, you talk about Gregory, you know, kind of lightning. He's lightning. You call, you know, McNutt thunder, and again, just real good burst, good quick feet through the hole, and again, just a really tough back you've got to corral, no question.
And you talked about Mitchell McNutt and what he's done. 2 touchdowns in that first half for McNutt, and it seems like when guys are trying to tackle him, they just bounce right off of him. Well, he's that strong and that dominant.
And he has that balance and strength where you're going to need a couple of kids to wrap him up and bring him down. Big difference. And again, you just watch him, keeps his legs moving, great move there, and great balance. You saw that balance, taking that hit and just rolling off. And again, that's toughness and strength right there.
And definitely for that defensive side of the ball for the Trojans, they have to make sure that they're wrapping up. We saw a lot of that in our first game in the matchup between Lena Winslow and Tuscola. Tuscola, not doing a good job of wrapping up Ravion Valentine, who exploded for that win for a state championship. But I'm sure that's going to be the message at halftime for Coach Joseph's ball club.
Well, it is, and, you know, I mean, is anyone going to be shocked if this isn't like a last possession kind of ball game? No. I would be shocked if it isn't, the way this is going. Just a terrific back and forth.
All right, have you caught your breath yet? Back and forth in that
totally.
first half?
I'm ready to go. Let's rock and roll.
Get some more Gatorade in you?
Oh, I'm so loaded with Gatorade. Ready to go.
All right, we will be back with more upcoming for the second half of this ball game with stats between Maroa-Forsyth and GCMS. And welcome back to Husky Stadium for the halftime segment between Maroa-Forsyth and GCMS. The Falcons down 15-14, standing here alongside Edgy Tim. I'm Cameron Smith. And Tim, let's get into these first half stats. Obviously, a lot of back and forth between these two teams, but let's look at the numbers, especially on the ground when it comes to who was more effective running the football.
Yeah, again, it's you look at really both rush stat-wise. Pretty similar. I mean, not a whole lot of difference. It surprised me a little bit. I thought Maroa might throw it a little bit more, but again, you got to love the third down conversion there as well for both. 6 out of 8 for Maroa, 4 out of 5 for the Falcons. And again, just kind of what you thought, a little bit better time advantage, time of possession for Maroa, but pretty even game, pretty tight game, and the stats definitely reflect it.
Especially those third down conversions. Look for that in the second half, especially as we get deeper and later into this game. Now, let's talk about what GCMS has to do to get back within this game. Now, first time in a state championship setting. So do you think nerves played a part in a little bit of maybe some miscues defensively, and maybe what do they have to do offensively to pick up their play?
Well, I wouldn't change a lot offensively. I mean, you're moving the ball and keep giving it to 5. Okay, I'm not a genius, but, you know, 5's pretty good. And defensively, again, you look for that turnover or two. You try to force that turnover. This defense has been so strong all year long, and it's an emotional thing as well for the defense. I mean, you're gonna live off that juice you're gonna get if they can turn around and get a turnover or two here in the second half.
And flipping it to the other side with Maroa-Forsyth, they have the experience of playing in a state championship game. Obviously, last year being back here, so going into that model, WWB 17, we will be back 2017, and it shows that their experience has helped them retake that lead as we saw just before the half.
Hashtag we need to finish.
Yes.
That's what has to happen in the second half. You got the lead, a huge touchdown at the end. Need to keep that momentum, take it into the second half, and again, finish.
That's the name of the game for GCMS and also Maroa-Forsyth. We will be back with more from Husky Stadium on the campus of Northern Illinois University for more 2A state championship football. I guarantee you the second half will be great. And we are back for more second half action. But before we get to that, I have the pleasure of standing here with head coach of the GCMS Falcons. That's Coach Mike Allen. And Coach, obviously you guys making it here, first time in program history for the 2A state championship game. But you have to be impressed with how just tough your kids have been throughout that first half, only down 4 points.
All year they've been tough. You know, we moved the ball well on offense. We had a couple of stops on defense. We have to just get 11 guys through the ball, make sure what we hit, we take down, and we'll be okay.
Offensively, Mitch McNutt, what can you say about him and what he's done all season, but especially in that first half? 2 touchdowns for you guys to just kind of keep Maroa-Forsyth at bay a little bit.
He's a little fired up after that last play before halftime, so watch out for him this second half.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck in the second half. All right, let's throw it back upstairs to our announcers. That is Lee Hall and Jack McInerney.
Thanks, Cam. Yeah, Mitch had his helmet ripped off there on that kick return, so yeah, he might be a little fired up. No penalties, or no, let me check that. No turnovers and no punts in that first half.
That's amazing. No punts for either one of those teams. Kind of tells you something about the focus of their offense and how well they move the football. I mean, there's been quite a few penalties, but the no punt one is a big kind of an issue there from the standpoint of you're not forcing anybody. The turnovers are in four down territory. That's why you're not seeing any punts.
All right, let's go ahead and recap the scoring for this one. It was Ian Benner to Aaron Inda, 55 yards for the Trojans as they took an early 6-0 lead. The point after was no good. GCMS answered with a McNutt touchdown, and then it was Max Davenport with a great touchdown catch for a 12-7 ball game. McNutt, his second touchdown run of the game, made it 13-12. They went for 2. And then it's Inda on the end around. How about that?
Good
the
one.
end around
By Inda.
for Inda, and it's a 19-15 lead for Maroa-Forsyth. GCMS, their first ever trip to state. And for Maroa-Forsyth, well, we mentioned they were second a year ago. They are state champs at 06 and 2012. And 4 other state championship appearances in 09, 2010, 14, and again last year. But a lot of similarities. They faced a DMAC team last year that was from the HOI conference, run base. They had an all-state running back in Jared Reese and came up short. This is a much better ball game. It was a 7-point game at half last year, and DMAC ran away with it in the second against Maroa.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to run away with this one. First of all, part of it is the fact that we talked about no punts, but they've both been very good on third down conversions, and that's one of the reasons why there has been no punts. Maroa-Forsyth, for example, is 6 of 8, and they have 13 first downs in that first half. For Gibson City, they were 4 of 5 for 11 first downs in that first half. So you talk about balance, but you also talk about the fact that both these teams have great confidence in their offenses to be picking up such large amount of first downs. Those stats usually are for entire game for some teams as far as the amount of first downs.
We talked in game 1 about the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference and their number of state championships for that conference. In the Heart of Illinois Conference, going for another title here. Flanagan, Chenoa, Leroy, Tri-Valley, DMAC have all won state championships in that conference. Lexington's been to 5 title games. So they have, if you will, put on a heart clinic over the years. Well, right the HOIC trying to pick up another one here, but they're going to have GCMS is going to have pretty good field position after that penalty in the first half.
Well, there's no doubt about that. This is certainly not the way you want to start off a state championship game when you're down by 3 and kicking into a relatively kicking with the wind. That might be the only advantage they have with this.
That face mask penalty being assessed here. McNutt grabs it at his 25, takes it out to the 40 and out to the 42-yard line. A return of 17 for the All-State running back. Check that. That was not McNutt. That's Brooke Schmidt, number 6, with the return. So it'll be first down from the 42 for GCMS. The rallying cry all year has been answer the call. We can tell you more about that after this play. The pitch is to McNutt. He has a lane, and we got a flag coming from way downfield as McNutt gets to the 46-yard line. We'll see what the flag is. That came from about the 35-yard line going the other way. Hold against GCMS.
Well, the reason for that hold is because Maroa is very active getting to the football.
Holding. Offense, number 6. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, first down.
What I mean by active to the football is they have great pursuit to the ball, and the moment that thing is pitched, right off the bat, you know it's a sweep, and there was nobody coming back to worry about reverse, so everybody was able to fly up to the football, and of course, that's when the blockers start grabbing onto people because there's too many people at the point of attack.
First down and 19. McNutt to the right. That's actually Trantina. He's brought down at the 36-yard line. We talk about answer the call. They actually have a board with pictures of a phone above every team they played all year long, and the coaches leave the locker room, and actually that board is hooked up. They can call and talk to the kids in the locker room and ask them if they're ready to answer the call, and they have done that this season to a 13-0 mark.
Ingenuity and technology in 2017 in high school football.
And I got some technology for you from Maroa-Forsyth as well. We'll talk about it a little bit.
I used to send pigeons in with notes on their paws.
Second down, 16. It's Gerard to throw, and he just overthrows Ryland Holt, the intended receiver.
That was a good throw over his shoulder away from the defender, so it couldn't be picked off.
Gerard, who is completing 67% of his passes coming in, just 1 of 5 passing now.
Well, the reason they actually pulled all the linemen to go in one direction was to take a little pressure off on the pass rush, because wherever the linemen go, that's where the defensive linemen are going, and that's what happened there. And he just barely overthrew Holt.
Well, we thought GCMS was going to get pretty good field position after that penalty that carried over from the first half. Instead, they find themselves 3rd and 16.
Throwback.
McNutt wants to throw, and it's blocked. Brian Hallam, the Maroa lineman, comes up with the block. And that'll make it 4th down.
Good job right there, because they had the throwback to the quarterback. After he pitched it, he goes back down the opposite way. So he's looking deep, but he wants to really come back and throw it this way, but it was just deflected, either that or it looked like it slipped out of his hand. Now he's going to be kicking into a relatively strong wind, so there should be decent field position here.
This is the first punt of the game.
And a good one. Wow.
Van Freehill into the wind, and a fair catch by Cameron Boleen, and a flag against GCMS. Somebody got in too close there, and it would appear it was Lane Harden who got a little too close for comfort there, and Cameron Boleen celebrating catching the punt in a little bit of traffic.
You got to allow him 3 feet circle to catch the punt, and that's exactly what did not happen.
Kick catching interference on the kicking team. It'll be 15-yard penalty, first down.
Wow, that's a huge call there, and so it's going to be very good field position for Maroa-Forsyth here, as they will start from their own 42-yard line.
Well, in that first half, Benner was 9 for 13 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the key to it was, you talk about balance, he threw to 5 different receivers. That makes it tough on the defense to gang up on one.
19-15 the lead. Benner throws as he's dropped, and it's complete, and a flag after the play is going to go against GCMS. The pass was complete to Max Davenport, and it looked like there was a little jawing, maybe perhaps on the part of Jared Trantina, number 22.
This is a good job right here, because this should have been a sack, as you can see
play,
right there.
Personal foul.
Gets the ball
number 22.
Oh, yeah.
Defense.
Great call by the
15-yard
officials.
penalty results in a first down.
Absolutely outstanding call by the officials right there. That was just uncalled for, not a very smart move by a good football player.
So we had 6 combined turnovers. That was a big part of the story in our 1A state championship. Penalties turning into a big part of the game here. 1st and 10 at the 39 now for Maroa-Forsyth with a 4-point lead. The give is to Gregory up the middle, and he picks up about 4. I wanted to get to that high-tech thing we were talking about. We were talking about high-tech for GCMS. Josh Jostis this year instituted a Trojan Football Championship manual. I got the idea from the Barrington coach, who got it from Urban Meyer of Ohio State. They don't hand it out. It's a Google Doc. And they can change it. They can change it at any time. In-season information, expectations. As Aaron Inda is brought down for a loss of a couple. They talk about character and coaching. So in May, you know what the week 13 schedule is going to be, and they can go in and change that. The kids can check it. They're not looking at your old spiral notebooks, buddy. They're high tech, man.
They're also telling you when you can and cannot take vacations for mom and dad. They know what's going on with the football program.
50 of 52 weeks. It's a big commitment for the successful programs. Here's Gregory. A first down and more inside the 20. He's going to take it into the end zone. DeAndre Gregory. No flags on the play. 36 yards on the touchdown run for DeAndre Gregory. His first touchdown of this ball game, number 30 on the season for the senior running back, DeAndre Gregory.
What a highlight tape it is right here. Great trap block right there by Brian Hallam. They're all state linemen, but just the quickness that he has.
Wow.
Quick feet, 3 or 4 different little deeks, as we call them, going down the field for that touchdown. Outstanding run, outstanding block, too, by Brian Hallman, number 64.
Ms. Fitzpatrick for the point after. It's good. And it's Maroa-Forsyth with a 10-point lead, 25-15, after the touchdown run from DeAndre Gregory. He chipped 2 teeth in a game earlier this year and said, hey, I got to get back out there. I can always get new teeth, man. DeAndre Gregory's pretty fired up on that Maroa-Forsyth sideline, and why not? His 17th carry, or 16th carry rather, makes it a 26-15 game. As you saw the drive, 116 carries, or 16 carries rather, 112 yards, averaging 7 yards a carry. DeAndre Gregory, the All-Stater. Stay tuned rather for our Country Financial Game Break as a part of our IHSA Greatest Championship Game series. You'll see highlights from the 2014 3A game between Wilmington and Williamsville. That's coming up for you a little bit later on. Lee Hall, Jack McInerney, along with Cameron Smith and Edgy Tim downstairs.
We have 3 SIU Saluki grads on this program. I am the 3rd. Those 2.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Edgy Tim's a Saluki, and Cameron's a Saluki, and I'm a Saluki.
I'm a Redbird.
And we're playing at
Husky Stadium.
Husky Stadium, one of our rivals.
McNutt carries it out to the 28-yard line, where GCMS will get started here, trailing now by 11. Maroa-Forsyth taking a commanding 11-point lead. A lot of football left in this ball game, but they are looking pretty good right now.
Well, it's going to be difficult for a team that doesn't throw the ball a whole heck of a lot to get back into a ball game when they need to get some quick scores, because they're more of a clock and ground control team.
Here's McNutt looking for a lane. There's a little and a late hit and a flag We go against Charlie Hubbard, an ill-advised hit out of bounds. So that will be another penalty and a little bit of a boost for GCMS after a couple of big penalties against them on that last Maroa drive.
Good. After the play, personal foul, defense number 6, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Good job by the officials right here. You can see that counter tray, both the guard and tackle pulling, and then McNutt just continues to bounce it outside. Excellent call. He is well out of bounds on that late hit. These officials stay right up on top of these plays, and those are all good calls no matter how much the fans boo. Excellent calls.
Here's the give to McNutt out to the left side. Not much there that time.
One of the issues, it's going to take a long time running east and west against this defense. You got to pop something north and south to get down into the end zone quickly. And in many cases, when you're going against a team that has really good defensive speed, which Maroa does have, the way you negate that is you run at speed, not away from it, but at it.
Second down for the Falcons. It gives to Trantina, the first man through, and he gets down to the 40-yard line.
And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That's a quick hitter. We talked about in the beginning how tightly the fullback is up behind the quarterback and how quickly that hits. And again, to negate the quickness of that defense, run at it quickly, and that's exactly what they did.
Trantina 585 yards as a sophomore.
He's a good, tough running back.
McNutt gets the pitch in motion. And a lot of Trojans there. He picks his way through, though, and is close to a first down and another flag. And I think that's going to be against Maroa for another late hit out of bounds.
Well, McNutt is really impressive for a big kid at 220 pounds.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 3, 15-yard penalty, results in a first down.
This is just a situation where he goes in a little soft motion right here, and it just turns in. Think of him being in the I formation, because the pitch is made when he is actually right, if he is in the tailback spot. And good call, not a real blatant shot right there, but he still was out of bounds when he tried to make the contact.
7 penalties now against Maroa, 8 against Gibson City. McNutt, not much there that time.
Well, that offensive line for Gibson City has done a nice job all year long, and in many cases, you know, they never get credit. And it's just one of those situations where in many cases, games like this, it's the offensive line and or the defensive line that does the job. In the case of this, Gibson City with Rutherford, Thompson, Rosenbaum, Walls, and Workman have done a nice job up front.
2nd and 9, Trantina with a pickup of a couple right up the middle. And here's the thing for GCMS last week against Newman in the state semifinals. Week 12 was the first time they had trailed all year, so they are not used to being on this side of the scoreboard.
Well, and that's it's a tough time to have that transition when you're in the state championship game. But right here, if they get a score, it's going to make a big difference, obviously, in the transition for them.
3rd and 5, the give to McNutt. He gets a good block there. Still on his feet inside the 5. Waiting for a, I think they marked him just short.
When coach said McNutt was fired up, he wasn't kidding. Great effort right here. Counter trap, you see the guard and tackle pulling, both making excellent contact right there. And McNutt with that 220 pounds of power.
Oh, man. I don't
Close.
know. It's boy, it's a good thing for Maroa that there's no instant replay. I think that's a touchdown.
Well, it's like anything, it happens so quickly. But what a great job by the offensive line of getting out there and doing a great job of blocking and getting him into the end zone right here.
Well, and now he's in. Connor Walls made a great block on that last run, and it was just inevitable until McNutt got into the end zone. McNutt with his third touchdown run of the game.
And again, that offensive line on both of those runs by McNutt were crucial. Rutherford, Thompson, Rosenbaum, Walls, and Workman. Here you can see the surge of the black jerseys into the end zone, and that's exactly where Mitch McNutt does. He follows them in there. He's just almost as big as most of those linemen at 220 pounds.
Going for 2 here, down 5 points. Gerard rolls out and makes it in. Takes a pretty tough hit, but takes it in for 2.
Great effort right there. You talk about putting pressure on the defensive backs with that bootleg coming out away from the flow. They send McNutt and Trantina in one direction because they've been so effective in the drive, and they bring Gerard around. Great play.
There's McNutt with the touchdown, and here comes Gerard. Taking a little pop, but getting in for 2.
The 2017 IHSA Football State Finals are brought to you by Country Financial. Take simple steps today at countryfinancial.com/simplesteps.
GCMS kids fired up. Got ourselves a ball game, Coach. 26-23. The scoreboard's almost even, and so is the time of possession. Maroa 14:51, Gibson City 14:44. That's about as even as you can get.
Both teams very efficient, even though the dynamic of their offenses are a little bit different. They still come up with the same statistics, not only on the scoreboard in most cases, but also time of possession.
Ben Freehill to kick it away into the wind, bouncing very close and out of bounds. .625 left here in our third quarter. It's a 3-point ball game. So good field position for Maroa. They'll start at their own 35.
Good look at that front offensive line again for Maroa, who's been very effective. Godey, Jatoy, Hallman, Klein, and Kleinmeyer outstanding all year long, and the same in the state championship. Both offensive lines for both teams have been outstanding.
Mert Jatoy, number 57, 35 ACT. Not much doing on that rush attempt from DeAndre Gregory. He loses a couple.
Well, Austin Spiller was coming all the way, and I think what's going to happen is Gibson City's going to pull a few plugs out here defensively and start being a little more aggressive as far as the run game here, and so they're going to put more pressure on Benner and take it away from Gregory. Now again, what can negate that is the formations, and that's what Maroa is trying to do, is spread them out.
Second down and 12, and whistle before the play got underway. It was complete to Gregory, but
I think the flag. Yeah, I think the lineman or the linebacker was a little quick.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 69.
When you get those linebackers stepping
remains second down.
When you get those linebackers stepping up into the gap like that, some of the linemen start flinching a little bit because, you know, it changes their blocking scheme. Whether they're going to take the down lineman or the blitzing linebacker, they flinch a little bit, and these officials are right on top of it like hawks.
Second and 17 now. Benner, that little shovel pass and not much doing.
Incomplete pass. That's the only thing that's safe about that particular play, is that it looks like it's going into the teeth of the defense, but it can be a big play if they over pursue, but if they don't and it happens like that, a lot of times fans jump because they think it's a fumble, but it's an incomplete pass.
GCMS defense all over that one. Now it's 3rd and 17. Benner to throw. Looking down the far sideline and overthrowing the intended receiver. That was William Hosea, number 35.
Big stop right there by Gibson City. A real big stop. because right now Maroa is going to have to punt into the wind and give Gibson City some good field position. And what I like here is they put 2 receivers back. Some teams will put 1 back, and they've got 2 back to cover the kick, and he gets a big one. Good kick.
Very good kick that time by Benner. Averages 32 points per punt. McNutt, 20 carries, 105 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ball game. He has been outstanding, just as he has been all year long for the GCMS Falcons. His linemen have been giving him some pretty good openings, but then he's pretty tough after contact too.
They're going to need him now.
He gets the carry here and dragged down. Great defensive stop there by Hawbaker, number 42. We've called his name a couple of times to get today. Senior, 5'8", 165.
It wasn't real pretty, but it was effective. Again, he bounces it out. Now you can see right there where the fullback tried to kick him out, and he actually kicked him right into making the tackle because McNutt tried to bounce it outside instead of turning it up inside.
Loss of 3, 2nd down and 13. Gerard in the shotgun, and he was down. He was down when he regained control of the football. They don't run out of the spread or the shotgun very much.
And that's exactly what happens. The center is not used to snapping the ball back because he's used to having the quarterback under center. And the other part of it is when you have to make that snap, sometimes that center has a man on his nose, which means he has to try and block him. So it's a little more ineffectual by doing it to a team that's not used to doing it.
Well, I think the man in motion was in the mix
right,
too.
He mixed it up too.
So it's 3rd down and 15. Gerard pump fakes, keeps it himself. He's out to the 25 and close to the 29 where he's brought down. And that'll bring up 4th and 4, and it'll be punt time for GCMS.
With that scramble, he just gave them about 10 more yards to work with and 10 less yards for Maroa as far as field position is concerned. Now we've seen with the wind, the snapper has the wind. We've seen some snaps that have been very high, and you've got to watch out for that right now. Good snap.
Rehill punts it away.
Nobody back at all.
And it takes a Maroa bounce. Tough punting into that 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Very difficult, and they didn't even have a receiver back down there because they didn't want to take any chances on having any kind of a muff or a fumble back there.
Just an 18-yard punt after that Maroa bounce. So the Trojans with a 3-point lead and a pretty good opportunity here with 3:03 to play in the 3rd.
And when you have a back like Hayden Mitchell to be able to carry the football, it's even more of a positive note.
Three receivers to the near side. Benner keeps it himself. He's down to the 40-yard line. Pickup of 7 for the sophomore quarterback. Maroa lost in week 3, 47-3 to Williamsville. And Josh Joseph says now the moment was probably a little too big for Ian Benner at that point in his development, but it isn't anymore. He's grown up before our eyes with now over 3,000 yards of offense, rushing and passing. He just throws that one away as he's flushed out of the pocket. He had 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in week 3. Since then, he's only thrown 1 interception.
And that certainly catapulted them into the state championship game because they had a tough game last week 25-14 against Shelbyville, but they hung up. They hung in there, and a lot of it had to do, obviously, with Ian Benner's leadership.
He was a 50% passer back in week 3, now 67% completion rate. Third down. Benner nowhere to go.
Read option, and they did a nice job of discipline there. 2 guys on the quarterback, 1 on the pitch man, and now they got a decision to make here.
Luke Freehill in on the tackle. He had 16 tackles last week against Newman.
You can see the option right there. He turned it in way too soon, but a good job as far as defensive discipline right there and stopping the option.
Bryce Barnes in on the stop as well.
I think they're going to give a second thought to this.
4th down and 4.
Going for it here. It's kind of iffy. But your offense averages 435 yards a game, so you got to have some confidence in it.
Gregory in motion. Flag on the play. Benner is complete to Inda. He's still on his feet inside the 30, where he's tackled out of bounds at the 28-yard line. That all depends on this flag.
I think it's going to come back. I think there might have been an illegal motion there. Just caught out of the corner of my eye. Let's see.
Illegal motion. Offense number 5. 5-yard penalty.
Both of you guys had it right. Yeah, that might change Josh Jostis's mind now on 4th down.
I think it definitely will. But you can see the motion right here. Good official threw. There was no doubt about it. He threw the flag immediately, so it wasn't like an afterthought throwing and making a late flag after a big game. So I wouldn't doubt it or think about it twice of not kicking the ball. Watch, they kick it very quickly before the guy's even back here to get ready to receive the punt.
The quarterback Benner is also the punter.
Getting a turf bounce.
Not much of a favorable bounce from Maroa there. It'll be GCMS ball at their own 19.
Well, 81 yards to go. State championship game. You got 1:33 to do it, and you don't throw a lot. You throw effectively, but you don't throw a lot. So let's see what happens.
Well, the big question for GCMS this year was, how will we handle adversity? They didn't have any close games until the postseason. They overcame 12 penalties against West Carroll in a 24-6 win, and then that win last week over Newman. McNutt fumbles, and now he's dragged down at the 10-yard line. Spencer Hawbaker in there again. -9, a loss of 9 there as they mishandle the football. Luckily, they get it back. Luckily for GCMS anyway. But the bad news is they're all the way back to their own 9-yard line.
Now, right there, he just got a little too concerned about getting out in front to be a blocker and didn't concentrate on delivering the pitch properly. That's your first responsibility, blocking second.
Here's an unusual formation from GCMS. 3 receivers out wide. Trantina gets maybe a couple. That pitch. Mike Shannon of the Cardinals announcing team would say he was looking for the local and got the express. About a fastball there.
Well, the defense is really tightened up here. You know, initially it looked like Gibson City in that first half and in that first quarter was running the ball so very effectively. And then, of course, adjustments at halftime, and that's what it's all about when you get to this level. To make those adjustments, and Maroa has certainly done that.
And GCMS has to call timeout. The play clock was at 2. And about to run out, so Mike Allen has to call timeout.
Mike Allen, a veteran coach, 17 years 114 wins and 63 losses, which by my math is about a 6.7 and a 3.7. So he averages about 6 and 3 a year over those 17 years. That's pretty darn good in a very tough league.
Yeah, and it didn't start off well. 0-9, 1-8 his first 2 seasons, but they stuck with Mike Allen. Coach Allen told us earlier this week, the officials don't know it, but we've got 12 guys on the field today. They are playing for a gentleman named Roy Raymer. That's Roy. He moved to the area back in 1970 from Tinley Park, went to over 3,000 sporting events. He was diagnosed with cancer back in January. He was inducted into the GCMS Hall of Fame. And the night before he died, it looked like he wasn't going to make it through the night. The team and the cheerleaders went and sang the school song outside his window. He died on October 26th. And he is the 12th man out there today for GCMS, loved by one and all. And that, in fact, somebody from that community said he's like Cher. You know, they knew him by his first name. Everybody knew him as Roy. He was just a one-name guy. Gerard looking to throw. It was intended for Bryce Barnes and incomplete. And there's a Maroa player down, slow to get up.
Well, again, this is a situation that Gibson City does not like to be in, where they have to kind of get out of their comfort zone and start throwing the football a little bit.
And there's Mitchell.
You know, it's not as if they're in real bad shape, but the field position has not been good for them at all in the second half.
7 seconds to go here in the third. Hayden Mitchell, the 5'9", 145-pound junior. He's got 8 tackles in this ball game.
Well, what I really found very interesting in this game thus far is 2 outstanding running backs, McNutt and Gregory. Either one of these teams, when you think about it, whenever they touch the football, you kind of get the sense that either one of those young men could take it all the way to the house. And Gregory certainly seems to be a lot quicker. Of course, he's only 165 pounds, but McNutt at 220 is a power runner, but he also is very elusive in the open field.
McNutt 94 yards on 22 carries and 3 touchdowns. Gregory 110 yards on 17 carries and a touchdown. And we are hoping everything's going to be okay with Hayden Mitchell from Maroa-Forsyth.
Well, there's some good games coming up down the road here tomorrow, and after us, we've got a lot of good football. And if these first 2 games are any indication at all of what we got in front of us, what a great weekend.
Here's what's coming up next. Pleasant Plains against IC Catholic in Class 3A. Pleasant Plains, a high school basketball power back in the 90s. And in 4A, it's Rochester. Nothing new there. Taking on Morris, another perennial power.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of good opportunities for outstanding games right there.
Cam Cameron, the head basketball coach for Pleasant Plains, back when they had such great teams and won a couple of state championships in Class A, I believe it was back then.
Good, he's able to get off the field on his own, under his own power. It's always good to see.
Outstanding, yes.
We actually, you know, in these first 2 ball games, have really, aside from in that first game, there was a slight little sprain of an ankle, and he was able to come back in. We've really had no issues whatsoever, which is really great.
We'd like to see that continue this weekend too. Ben Freehill standing inside his own end zone to punt into the wind. That's a pretty good kick. And he gets a favorable bounce and picked up there at the 48-yard line. Punt of 36 into the wind. A beautiful day and some pretty good football here, as it's a 3-point game in Class 2A with 12 minutes to go. Pitch to McNutt, looking for the edge. He's in for the score. Mitch McNutt, his 30th touchdown of the season, and GCMS with an extra point can take the lead here. Maroa going for it on 4th and 7. Lofts the pass into the end zone. Touchdown. Max Davenport with the grab for Maroa-Forsyth. Benner the give, the handoff, and the score for Aaron Inda, the wide receiver with the carry for the touchdown. Here's Gregory. A first down and more inside the 20. He's going to take it into the end zone. DeAndre Gregory, 36 yards on the touchdown run for DeAndre Gregory. And that's where we stand. 12 minutes to play. 26-23. Maroa-Forsyth leading GCMS.
Well, this game has certainly been all that we expected it to be. You know, oftentimes you don't hear about some of the smaller schools, but you hear about how good they are, and they certainly are. And they always have been.
1st and 10, pass complete to Boleen. And he's got a first down to the 37-yard line. 9 penalties on Maroa for 83 yards, 8 penalties on GCMS for 69 yards. There were no punts in the first half, and we had 5 in the 3rd quarter.
It's kind of amazing the different transitions in this game, from no punts to 3 1/4.
Weird, wild stuff. Yes.
Ready for stretch here, stretch. Quarterback this way.
Benner rearranges everything. Now fakes the give to Gregory, keeps it himself, and he's dropped for a loss there. Luke Freehill in there again. You can see the long hair billowing out of his helmet. The offensive lineman for GCMS decided to go ahead and let their hair grow long. Of course, these guys play both sides, and they say we keep getting the comment Joe Dirt.
Well, that was a good defense.
As long as there's no man buns, they say it's okay. That's the limit right there. Good defensive play there. Benner throws was intended for Inda, but it was there was a lot of traffic out there. Hubbard was out there trying to block, and Inda ran right into him, and that's where the pass ended up.
That was an outstanding defensive effort right there. He read it immediately and came right rushing up. Never allowed the wide receiver to even get a block on it before the ball was out there in the flat. That could have been a big play because there was 2-on-1, but he made it an advantage to the defense.
3rd down and 14 for Maroa. And a whistle, and the Trojans take timeout. That's their first timeout of the half. And we're going to take one with them. A 3-point ball game with 10:54 to play here for the 2A state title. And there you see the rallying cry for GCMS this year. Answer the call. That's not the board. The board is actually in the locker room. And they have answered the call to 13 wins and no losses to this point. They've got 12 more minutes. Well, a little less than that now here in the 4th quarter. It's 3rd down and 14. Pass is broken up. Brooke Schmidt there on the coverage for GCMS.
We had talked about that particular route early. When you send Gregory out in motion, you're hoping to get the safety or linebacker to get out of there, and he goes right down the seam right here. That's the route, and he should be open, but a good reaction right there by Brooke Schmidt coming up from behind, and a nice job right there by the defense. Big stop.
Not much of a punt by Benner. Saturday on NBC Sports Chicago. That would be tomorrow. The Blackhawks continue their Florida swing. They'll take on the Florida Panthers. Coverage starts at 5:30 with Blackhawks pregame live or stream live on the NBC Sports app. You know, I'm a former member of the Blackhawks alumni team.
Really?
And my line mate, my good friend Dennis Savard.
Right. I'll take that home with me.
That was also the game that I fell and broke my ribs. McNutt with the carry on first down, picks up about 3. Well, he's a starting fullback on the 2015 undefeated regular season team.
He's a good one. There's no doubt about that. Outside linebacker, running back, all-state.
He gets the carry. And very close to a first down. Just under 10 minutes to go now.
He does a nice job, and they do a nice job with that counter tray where they pull the guard and the tackle. And he gets in behind him and he sets up those blocks. The timing is really good. He does a nice job of following them and not getting ahead of them and cutting back behind the setup of the block that he makes with his moves. And timing is everything when you run those counters and traps and everything else, that you don't overrun the trap block or the lead block.
Here's Trantina with it now. With room to run. Trantina knocked out of bounds inside the 20. Inda forced him out of bounds.
And that's that play we talked about having the fullback up real tight against the quarterback, and it's a real quick hitting play. And you can see it's a trap, but he bounces it outside and uses his speed with a good cutback right there. That play was designed to go in between the two guards, but he saw that it was all bunched up and he bounced it outside and had enough speed to make it happen. And just a missed tackle there and a great cutback right here. It puts them in great field position right here. Now can they take advantage of it?
49 yards on the pickup, the longest play of the day for GCMS. Now they go with the other barrel. McNutt taken out of bounds at the 11-yard line. A pickup of 6 for McNutt. Boy, Trantina is a wrestler, but he showed some pretty good wheels there on that 49-yard pickup.
Well, it's kind of interesting the way they use him. They'll use him as the up back, as a fullback, and sometimes they'll put McNutt out in the wing and they'll use him as the tailback. He's an outstanding blocker. I've watched him on several of their lead plays, and he does a great job of kicking out. Then when he runs the trap inside as the tight fullback, he's very quick hitting the hole, and that's the advantage that they have.
2nd and 4 from the 11. It's McNutt taking his time, waiting for the blockers, and in for the score.
Well-designed play, but a better play as far as his effort and his running ability right there to break some tackles.
Check that. That's Brooks Schmidt on the carry. 11 yards on the touchdown.
They take advantage of having two good backs with Triana and McNutt, and they give the ball right here on the jet sweep, and Schmidt's got enough speed to get outside, and he sets the block up quite nicely, stumbles up into the end zone. That play was made by the prior 3 plays by McNutt and Trantia, that the defense closed down on him and allowed that jet sweep to get outside.
So it's a 3-point lead, could be 4 on the extra point. It's up with plenty of distance and good for Freehill. McNutt actually made a great block on that one as Schmidt runs it in for his 5th touchdown of the season.
Made a real good block, but they didn't run a lot of time off the clock, did they?
They did not. It's a 4-point ball game. We've been back and forth all day. And it's Brooks Schmidt on the carry, just a minute 29 on that drive.
Again, here off the jet sweep, you'll see the quick motion right here. They have double wing, and they get a guy out in front. Good job of blocking. He sets up the block with the cutback, and then just a good stumbling effort to get up into the end zone. Well-designed play after utilizing your 2 best runners in McNutt and Trantina. You take advantage of that little jet sweep with with Schmitz out in the end zone.
.9:13 to play.
You wonder in a situation like this how many more possessions these teams are going to have. Because normally you don't expect a running team to run that little amount of time off the clock.
A quick strike from GCMS, the second-ranked team in the final state poll, gives them a 4-point lead with 9:13 to play. And that kick is hammered through the end zone.
I love you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Ben Freehill drills it through the end zone. Are you done talking to your fans now?
Well, you know, you have to see once in a while.
Press box is being stormed. I thought they were waving at me.
I asked that I only sign programs at halftime. Oh, but a couple came late. Okay.
Maroa from their own 20-yard line. Now down by 4. Give this to Gregory. He bounces it outside and gets out to the 28-yard line. A pickup of 8.
He's really fun to watch. Really an exciting runner. During the regular season, those first 13 games with his 1,600 yards, he averaged 10 yards a carry, which is an amazing statistic.
Flag on the play. I'm trying to count up the lead change. I think there's 5 lead changes in this ball game. It's been really back and forth throughout this ball game.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, defense, number 33, 5-yard penalty, results in a first down.
That's been a problem for GCMS in this game.
And we thought, and I'm sure they thought too, that they had corrected that early on when you had made that comment, because it was the same young man earlier in the game that had jumped twice in a row.
First and 10 for the Trojans. It's complete to Boline. He made a nice catch there. And he gets out to about the 38, pickup of 5. His 3rd catch of the ball game.
And that's great concentration to make a catch like that. It's a slant route going right in towards the linebacker and the safety, and you almost got to realize you're going to get popped really good. But he kept with great concentration to make that catch.
2nd and 5 for the Trojans out of the Sangamo Conference. Gregory right up the gut to midfield. Pickup of 9 for DeAndre Gregory. He had a season high 6 touchdowns against Auburn earlier this year.
And a stat does not surprise me like that after you see him in person. You know, sometimes you read some enormous stats about a young player, but when you see him in person and see how very quick he is, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
1st and 10 from midfield. Gregory tries to hop outside, but nowhere to go, and McNutt is there to bring him down. Tried to make something out of that after the hole collapsed inside, but McNutt was there to bring him down. He played such a great defensive game against Newman last week. Mike Allen said it was probably his best game defensively. He had a late game sack in on a lot of plays and held the team accountable as well. Now it's Benner with nowhere to go. Maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, the thing to me that as from a coaching standpoint that I really appreciate is the fact that these young men go both ways, most of them. and they just, you don't miss a beat. I mean, you'd almost think that they're platooning because of the energy level they have if they're either on offense or defense. And, you know, for example, you know, Maroa has four players going both ways, and Gibson City sometimes anywhere has from 6 to 7.
Third down, little reverse to Inda. Inda has the first down and on his feet and on his way to the end zone. Aaron Inda, 48 yards. Check that, 50 yards and no flags.
And the way he was able to tiptoe down that sideline, I didn't think that he was going to make the turn and get his shoulders upfield, but he was able to do that and go right down the sideline. Just an outstanding effort right there. You know, they were coming hard defensively, and they were playing off of Gregory. And this is exactly what happens. You run the option, you get the fast flow towards the option. He comes back. Watch the tiptoeing right down the sideline right here. Outstanding job. Great play call right there, because they were really over pursuing to the point of attack after Gregory and Benner, and they run the reverse. Great call.
Riley Fitzpatrick for the point after it's blocked. So the Trojans lead is 32-30, and I double checked my math in my head as I was talking. It was a 52-yard run for Aaron Inda, who runs a 52-second 400-meter.
And I think we have a flag down on that.
There's some discussion.
There is no foul for roughing a kicker. The ball was tipped. The try is no good.
And we had just talked about how coach had told his lineman that she better never be touched.
Well, the other part of this too is we also talked about how many different possessions you think they're going to be in the last 9 minutes, and these teams are scoring quickly. And that was just an excellent call, because when you run the option, teams fast flow to that particular point, and they had run it 3 or 4 times previously and did a nice job of running the option, and then there they were running it, and anytime you got Gregory as a possibility on that pitch, you're going to get a lot of defenders heading in his direction, and that's what happened, and that's why they actually pitched the ball towards him, and what we call it's intercepted by the other back going in the opposite direction on that reverse, and that's usually how it's run. The one key thing on that thing is you got to remember he's coming back into the ball. And sometimes if it's not a direct handoff, it's a pitch, there can be a fumble, but they executed that quite well.
And that is our 6th lead change of this ball game. Aaron Inda with 4 carries, 2 of them for touchdowns. And I'm not sure we're done with scoring plays in this ball game. 6:26 to play. Tanner Falk will kick it away into that 20-mile-an-hour breeze. It's a high kick that bounces. It's a free ball, and Schmidt picks it up for GCMS. And they will start at about the 25-yard line, trailing here by 2.
I did a game last week, semifinals with Maine South and Lincoln Way East. The young man kicked the ball, and it wasn't supposed to be an onside kick, but the wind was so strong he kicked up in the air. It actually went to the 30, came back all the way on a fly, and turned into be an onside kick, and was recovered by Lincoln Way East.
Give to McNutt, and he picks up about a yard.
McNutt is really a workhorse.
We talked about how a lot of his stats were first half stats. He only had 15 second half carries going into the playoffs.
That's amazing.
That's how dominant GCMS has been this year during the regular season. Do they have another drive in them here in the state championship game? McNutt tries to bounce outside and does. And he's forced out of bounds after picking up a first down. He's out to the 37-yard line. There is a flag on the play.
That was a big run right there. That's going to be holding. Yeah, they were only challenged In their first 13 ball games, they were really only challenged.
Holding. Offense, number 55. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
That's the 10th penalty for GCMS in this game.
And they, and I think 4 or 5 of them have come in very crucial situations. Now again, let's just take a look at the top. And the hole right there, he's holding him back. Good job right here. Makes a big play for a first down, but it's all negated by the hole, and the backside wasn't even at the point of attack.
2nd and 14. Here's the give to McNutt. He came around in motion, and he's met there in the hole by Caleb Moore, 6'1", 160-pound senior.
Now the way they've been running McNutt here, I think it's about time for Trantina. That's normally how they've done it. That's been their transition to the other running back. They run and run McNutt till you're lulled into where he's going, and then they run Trantina on a trap up the middle or whatever. Let's see where he lines up right now.
He had that big 49-yard carry. 28 carries, 123 yards for McNutt. Gerard rolling right, looking downfield, and it's complete to Bryce Barnes. He's a basketball player who didn't play last year as a sophomore. A big catch with 4:53 to play.
And Coach Allen actually says that he is actually their best blocker. And what a big play that is for his first catch. Nice target at 6'2". But you know what? Under pressure for a guy that doesn't throw the ball a whole heck of a lot. That was a heck of a throw by Nathan Gerard to get the ball down the field, pick up that first drive, keep the drive alive.
36 yards on the pickup. Here's Trantina for that run up the middle you were calling for a moment ago. He wanted it, didn't he?
He sure did, and he got the ball right on the money, and he was going against the grain to throw it back across his body. Tells you what kind of an athlete he is.
He averages 22 yards a catch on the season. And that one couldn't have come at a better time. 4:15 and counting here in the state championship game. GCMS down 2 and driving. Here's McNutt.
Got it.
They're going to give him the first down on forward progress, and they do.
Again, a lot of credit goes to that offensive line, who's been there all year long for him. Rutherford, Thompson, Rosenbaum, Walls, and Workman. And they've had to do the job all day today. And the thing is, they have to be versatile because there's play action, there's run action, there's just straight passes. So linemen never get the credit that they deserve, but they certainly deserve an awful lot of credit in this ball game.
1st and 10.
Great job of stringing that out.
Not much there that time for Brooks Schmidt.
55, Bryson Ferguson, and 62, Andrew Cole.
Well, we talked about how they weren't really tested in the regular season, and that West Carroll game they won 24-6, and Coach Allen says I think we answered that question. We got stronger as that game went on. We prepare our kids in practice and put them in situations where we haven't been in games, and that's helped prepare them for this moment as well. 2nd down and 10. McNutt met at the line of scrimmage, finds another crevice and gets down to the 21-yard line. Picks up 4. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for GCMS. Clock ticking, down 2 here in the 2A state championship game.
Well, you can see the holding right there almost. He jumps his hands back like he was on a scalding oven. But pretty good job right there. Now the question would be, what kind of a kicking game do they have? Well, there's only their kicker is 1 for 1, Freehill, and his long was 50 yards. So, you know, if it comes down to it, is it a possibility? I'd say yes.
And they got the wind at their back, too. The pitch to McNutt. Trantina out in front. McNutt gets a little bit of the corner and just enough to get that first down to the 15-yard line.
It's amazing.
Now 7 of 11 on 3rd down.
Sorry, it's amazing how he sets up on that sweep, because they really have the edge taken away from him, but he slows down a little bit right there, a little bit more, and that allows him to get to the edge. They have him outrun and outflanked out there. So it's just that little deke inside, and he bounces it outside, picks up that really big first down.
And here's the problem: if you're Maroa, there's not going to be enough time maybe to score if GCMS takes up much more of the clock here. First down and 10. Give to Trantina. He's met at the line of scrimmage and brought down there. Brian Hallam on the tackle for the Trojans.
Good job by that front four.
McNutt looks like you think he might be a little tired?
No, I don't. He might just be breathing heavy, but I think he's setting up the defense in case they're watching him. He's just a well-conditioned student athlete. His dad's the coach. You don't think that he's going to be coming off the field because he's tired, do you?
31 carries, 138 yards for Mitch McNutt, 3 touchdowns.
And who knows how many tackles on defense.
2nd and 10. Gerard fakes the pitch. Flag on the play. It's going to come back. Gerard gets in, and they will signal touchdown, but there's a flag back at the 14-yard line, and that's going to come back.
What a great effort, though. You cannot not give him praise for that effort. He didn't know there was a flag behind him at all.
Holding. Offense, number 56. 10-yard penalty in the spot of the foul. Replay, 2nd down. The result of the play was a touchdown. They'll start the clock on the snap.
Just to speak to your Mitch McNutt point, Nick Pinto, our great stats guy up here, 3 tackles for McNutt, 2 of them for loss, along with his outstanding offensive numbers that we just told you about.
What a great run that was right there to be called back.
2nd down and 19. McNutt looking for the edge, and not much there as it was strung out. Colby Wilbur, 6 foot, 175-pound junior out there to help string it out for the Trojans.
And again, the advantage is going to be to the Falcons of Gibson City because of the situation they might possibly have with the potential of a kicker right here.
That's Ben Freehill. He might have a lot to say about the outcome of this ball game. 1:15 to play, 3rd down and 18.
Bootleg again.
Gerard rolling right, looking into the end zone, leaping catch.
Oh, you're kidding. You're kidding.
It's a touchdown.
Wow.
Bryce Barnes with a touchdown catch.
What a catch. What a catch.
So the team we touted as a run-first team, running 90% of the time all season long, with a go-ahead touchdown on a pass with 1:08 to play in the championship game.
And what a great play by Gerard to keep the play alive. Just bootleg pass, got a man in the flat, a man deep, and a man coming across. You can see him right there. It almost looked like there was no way that he was going to possibly catch that ball. You know what I attribute that to? The sticky gloves that they wear now. What a great catch. Just an absolutely outstanding catch, and what a venue to catch it in.
Didn't play as a sophomore.
Timeout.
Bryce Barnes
Gibson
comes
City.
up with a touchdown catch that could be a history maker for GCMS as they take a 4-point lead pending the extra point.
Let me ask you this. He's only a junior. He didn't play last year. You think he's going to play next year after that?
So.
I think so, too.
Holt and Bryce Barnes both didn't play a year ago.
Good job right here, getting out, getting the ball, keeping the ball alive with his feet, and what just a fabulous catch right there. That is just one of those Sunday catches you see. Stretches out to the complete point that he could go to catch it. What great cam work right here. Look at those hands. Good gracious, what a catch.
It's the Wintrust play of the game. I had to wait and make sure that it was a catch. Waited for the signal from the officials. He had his arms under that the whole way. That's a great shot there, guys.
He brought that right into his body as he was going down.
Wow.
Talk about an athlete.
3 completions on the day for Nathan Gerard, 2 of them on that drive. And you better give a lot of credit to Bryce Barnes for that completion. My goodness. They're going to go for 2 here and try and make it a 6-point game. Gerard rolling right, looking for him again, and the leaping grab. Why not? Bryce Barnes for 2.
And the reason that particular play was more effective and not as dramatic as the touchdown is because he delivered it quicker than he did before. He stretched it out on the touchdown. Here he took about 4 steps on the bootleg. It was the exact same play, but he delivered the ball sooner before they could react and get the safety to come over and help. What a great execution right there by Gerard and Barnes.
12 plays, 75 yards, and maybe most importantly, or just as important, 5:16 time eaten up on that drive.
There's just a great catch off of that bootleg pass, and he comes back with the extra point. Now the same play, but watch how quickly he gets rid of the ball before he gets out on the edge. He delivers it because he was open quicker.
Gerard, a junior, to Bryce Barnes, a junior.
Have we seen some great football so far? This has been amazing.
It really has. Now, if you're Maroa-Forsyth, you've got 1:08 to go. But you've got to go into a pretty stiff breeze. And it's going to be pretty tough sledding against that GCMS defense, although this has been a really wild game offensively for both sides. Well, GCMS only allowing 6 points per game coming in.
And the key here will be the kick and what kind of field position they get. There you go.
They're going to start at their 20.
What a big kick that is.
That win has been a huge factor here today as far as the kicking game and kicking into the end zone. Total offense almost dead even. 372 yards from Maroa-Forsyth, 375 for GCMS, and that will tell you just what a great game this has been. I'm sure the defensive coordinators probably don't like it quite as much as we have.
No, but the people in the stands love it, and we enjoy it. Really 2 outstanding football programs, 2 outstanding coaching staffs, a well officiated ball game. You can't ask for more.
Can Maroa make a heroic comeback here in the final minute? Benner on the keeper. You don't have enough time for that. Maroa's got 2 timeouts left and under a minute to go into the wind.
Got to get the ball out on the edges where you can get some yardage and then get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Benner all alone in the backfield. And there's pass interference. I thought.
He made that same exact play in the 3rd quarter, only going in the opposite direction, where he broke through and knocked the blocker as well as the receiver out. Outstanding defensive play right there. But that's also really good scouting. You talk about looking at some film.
Boleen got knocked to the ground, but there was no call, and that brings up 3rd down. Benner rolling right, looking for Boleen as the official gets knocked backwards. You still haven't seen a call from him. I believe it's complete, and it's just shy of a 1st down. Depending on the spot, it may be a 1st down. It is a 1st down. The official got knocked out of bounds, and he's still hobbling, and couldn't really tell what the call was there. It's a 1st down for Maroa-Forsyth with 35 seconds to play. 2 timeouts left. Still a long way to go. And flags.
Prior to the snap, false start, offensive line, 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
10th penalty of the game against Maroa-Forsyth.
Now this might be a silly comment, but we talk about mechanics and everything that the players do and how well they do it. These officials have great mechanics as far as the calls that they make, and that, you know, that's something that's really important for coaches and fans, is how they tell you what's going on.
So we've got a timeout. And I believe believe that was taken by GCMS. It was Mike Allen. I love something I read earlier this week when he first started and they had that rough start to their program, 0-9, 1-8. We came up with an excuse tree. You didn't tell the coaches your excuse for whatever didn't go right. You went and told it to the tree because the coaches did not want to hear it.
That makes sense.
I'm sure you've talked to a lot of wildlife in your time.
Oh.
That was at the beginnings of a program that is now 34 seconds away from a state championship in its first ever trip to state. 7 lead changes. It's been that kind of game, back and forth all game long. 34 seconds left. Still life for Maroa-Forsyth as they go for their 3rd state title. Benner out wide. It's complete to Davenport. He's got room to run out to the 42-yard line. And the clock will stop on the 1st down.
Do we have a flag? We do.
We do have a flag. Back at the 30-yard line. And it's a hold against Maroa-Forsyth. Well, that was going to get pretty exciting there for a minute, but now they go backwards.
Offense number 1, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 1st down.
Holding on the wide receiver, Aaron Inda.
Well, sometimes players get so aggressive to make a block, and what happens in many cases is not so much that he grabs on, the defender moves, and when he moves, the normal reaction is to try and grab him because you're trying to make the block, and that's what happens with offensive linemen when quarterbacks scramble. The defensive lineman moves or starts running on him, and he ends up grabbing him just out of competitiveness.
Benner throwing under pressure. It's complete to Gregory. He's brought down at the 22. A pickup of 1. And Maroa takes timeout with 15 seconds left. So they are in need of a take it to the house play here.
Well, what's going to happen in many cases is defensively they're going to play really soft. They're going to give them anything and everything they want underneath, including screens, any kind of draws, just so they can close on the ball. And they're going to also try and squeeze them inside, try and keep them away from the numbers, which means as closer they get to the numbers, they get out of bounds, which stops the clock. So let's squeeze them from the numbers on in, and that will keep the ball in front of you and the clock in your favor as far as keeping it running.
It's Josh Jostis, 18th year, 165 wins, 52 losses, and he had a tough start when he took over at Maroa. 6-21 his first 3 seasons, 2 of those 1-8s. But they were determined to get back to the state championship game after losing here a year ago, and they are back in what's been a very well played game, aside from some penalties. But these teams have really gone back and forth at each other.
Let's see how far back they're playing a 2 deep coverage.
And they try a little hook and ladder there, and nothing doing there. 11 seconds now, and it's 3rd down.
Well, the best person to have the ball in his hands at this particular time is Gregory. With his quickness and speed, he's about the only one right now that can break one. So either he gets the ball on a screen, he gets the ball on a draw, something where he has the football, because he's really the mainstay that has the ability to go 80 yards.
3rd down. Boleen looking for the halfback pass. Nobody open. And he's brought down at the 26-yard line. GCMS defense stepping up again. Austin Spiller with the tackle.
The credit on that one goes to the defensive backs. They didn't fall for anything. They can see all the stuff going on in the backfield. Their job was to stay back and allow the play to be in front of them, not behind them. And that was just going to be off the reverse. A double pass didn't happen because the defensive back stayed back, and he had nowhere to throw the ball, so he had to scramble to make something happen, and it just strung the play out.
Josh Joseph gets timeout called with 2 seconds on the clock. And there you get a look at the GCMS tournament history. quarterfinals in '98, the semis back in '09, the quarterfinals 2 years ago in Class 1A. This is, as we mentioned, their first title game appearance, and ready to bring home another state championship to the Heart of Illinois Conference. DMAC won last year, Tri-Valley the year before that. This would be 3 in a row for the HOI Conference, and they are 2 ticks away from doing just that.
Well, it certainly has been a well-played football game and a very exciting fan game.
Hail Mary time for the Trojans with 2 ticks left. Benner scrambling. It's complete, and that is the last play of the ball game, the completion to Hubbard, and the celebration begins for Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley. The Falcons bring home their first state football championship.
And a well-deserved championship it is.
38-32 the final. 7 lead changes, neither team giving up as they battle here in DeKalb, but it's the Falcons coming away with the win, and a second straight heartbreak for the Trojans, who lose in the championship game for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. So close and yet so far. But a huge win for the Men in Black as GCMS takes home the championship. And there is our player of the game, Bryce Barnes, with the touchdown grab. And that's one they will always remember. And I think it's one we'll always remember. That was one of the best catches we've seen, high school or otherwise.
Well, no doubt about it, especially with 2 defenders on him, and in the situation that it was, the type of game it was, the pressure, all kinds of scenarios, and he makes the big play. Again, an awful lot of emotion goes into a game like this.
My goodness.
These kids will be remembering this game, all the reunions, 5, 10, 20 years from now, they'll be talking about this. It's just a game that's always remembered in your career, because not many teams get the opportunity to play for the state championship.
Here's our Country Financial play of the game. It won't soon be forgotten in Illinois high school football history. Bryce Barnes with the grab from Nathan Gerard, the go-ahead touchdown for the high-flying Falcons. How about it? 90% on the ground this year, and of course, they win it with a pass. Let's go down to Cameron downstairs.
All right, guys. Well, I have 2 stars from today's win for GCMS. That is senior running back Mitchell McNutt and also Bryce Barnes. You guys obviously have made history when it comes to GCMS football. Sum this up into words. I know it's going to be difficult. So many emotions running through you right now. But, Mitch, 3 touchdowns on the afternoon for you. How good did you feel out there, and what did you see in coverage to allow you to be so successful?
You know, it just comes up front. You know, all I do is run straight and, you know, just put my shoulder pads down. Our line, tight end, receivers, they did their job, and I mean, we ran it right down the middle and, you know, shoved it right up the middle.
How much did it mean for you guys, obviously, when you were down a lot of back and forth in this game, 7 lead changes, to not get down on yourselves when you were trailing on the scoreboard?
I mean, this team is different than others. This is all we talk about is winning state. You know, we told our parents, we told our school, you know, you got to back that up. And, you know, last week we were losing 8-6 at #1 team in state, Sterling Newman. Going in the half, losing, we felt pretty good, and we just came out and got the win.
Mitch, we appreciate the time. And let's slide over to your teammate, Bryce Barnes. And, Bryce, you and Nathan Gerard hook up for that game, basically sealing touchdown play. Take me through that play, because obviously one of the greatest catches that we've seen today, and especially in the last few years of IHSA state football.
It was great blocking by our line, and I kind of just threw my hand up and said, throw it up. I told him before, I said, hey, if you got a shot, just throw it up, and I went up and I made a play. So I give it to the line. They blocked for him all game and gave him time to throw it up. So I'm thankful for the line.
All right, now you guys typically 90% are a running team. Mitchell McNutt gets the majority of those calls. When the play call came into the huddle, were you saying, okay, wow, all right, we'll throw it? Well, I'll be ready for it.
Yeah, I was definitely ready. I was waiting for it. And, you know, I just got to make the most of what you get, and I did, and great pass and great blocking by our line, so I'm thankful.
First championship in school history. How does that feel?
It's awesome. I can't believe it. It's awesome.
Bryce Barnes, Mitchell McNutt, 2 stars for GCMS for the school's first state championship in Class 2A. The Falcons are bringing a state trophy back to their hometown. We'll be back with more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they did it. GCMS with the school's first state championship in Class 2A with their 38-32 win over Maroa-Forsyth. And I'm standing here with head coach Mike Allen of the Falcons. And coach, this team obviously all season has been resilient. First time in a state championship game, don't know what's happening, when to get up, when to practice, when to come in and arrive early so your team gets in. But you guys were outstanding. How did you get it done this afternoon?
You know, just the kids have worked hard all season, had a great attitude. We never panic. And we have a 12th man in Roy Raymer who passed away earlier this year. So, you know, we had a lot to play for today.
You guys are 90% of a run team, relying on Mitchell McNutt to get most of that yardage, but that final play call to put you guys ahead with Nathan Gerard and also Bryce Barnes hooking up for that game-sealing touchdown. What went into the mindset and the play call to run that play?
You know, listen to Nathan. You listen to your kids. They got you here. Nathan, you know, we talked about a waggle comeback. He saw Barnes open and just a great pass and one heck of a catch.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much. That's head coach Mike Allen of GCMS. They win the program's first ever state championship. Let's throw it back upstairs to Lee Hall and Jack McInerney.
All right, Cam, thank you very much, and congratulations to Mike Allen and his defensive coordinator, Chad Augsburger, picking up his second state title. He was a linebacker and offensive guard on Chenoa's 96 1A state championship team. And they, of course, also an HOI conference team coached by Dean Magro. And here you take a look at the trophy presentations brought to you by Menards. And congratulations to the GCMS Falcons. Their first state football championship. What a feeling for them, huh?
Certainly is. And of course, they had to earn it. There's no doubt about it. They played an outstanding team who has an outstanding program, who's been here before, knows the ins and outs of playing in the state championship game. But they were really just outstanding. And both teams were. This game was a back and forth game, really exciting for both teams, coaches and fans. Well played. And this is the way you want a championship game to be played, where you got to earn the victory, where you don't have a lopsided win. And both teams played extremely well.
Well, another tough loss for the Maroa-Forsyth Trojans. Your heart goes out to them. It's a completely different feeling, though. Today, last year they lost 35-7. They were right in this one and went toe-to-toe with GCMS. But the Falcons come out with a win and finish the season 14-0 as they outlast Maroa-Forsyth here in the state championship game. 38-32 the final. GCMS a winner, and they're taking home the state championship. For Jack McInerney, Cameron Smith, Edgy Tim, and our entire crew here in DeKalb, thanks for joining us. Congratulations to GCMS. 3A and 4A football coming your way next.